another day for a debate. The gentleman sent in a request via Instagram, and so we will have a discussion and perhaps a bit of an interview. I'm going to yield the floor for the gentleman to introduce himself, and we will proceed from there.
Yes, well, thank you, Marquett, for doing this. And I have to say, you have some bars, you have some motion in the songs for sure. I
I
am a
appreciate
fan
that.
of music, rap. I do like a little bit of motion when people speak, when they have rhythm. But my name is James. My Instagram and TikTok is Cloysius. I am a white nationalist. I believe white people need to begin advocating for themselves in their own countries. They are going extinct in their own countries. You can go to China and you can go to Indonesia. That's fine. People from all over the world move around in a globalized society. But for some reason, as white people, we have begun to say it's okay for us to be disrespected in our own countries. It's okay for us not to stand up for ourselves. And any other group of people that survives stands up for themselves. They stand up for their interests. And I want to empower white people to do the same.
Well, I appreciate that polished introduction. Two of the things you mentioned were curious. You gave an example of China and Indonesia, and you mentioned white people standing up in their own countries. The difference between perhaps what you're referencing with the whites standing up in their own countries is that China was originally a place for the Han Chinese, Indonesia originally from for the Indonesians, whereas conversely, say if you were to take Australia or the United States, neither of those are actually white countries. Those are places that whites inserted themselves typically through violence, mass murder, RAPE, and much else, all things that we would consider to be pretty evil. So would you like to kind of center us
Yeah,
now
I'm
that,
I'm willing to respond to that. The world grew not by peace; it grew by war. When we looked at native tribes in Australia and North America, they fought each other. They had wars with each other. They committed mass atrocities. The Aztecs, Mayans literally sacrificed little children, ripped their hearts out. So to say that the world grew by peace and everyone was just playing nicely is untrue. Any other ethnic group who got power, they would have done the same thing. White people were just more, well, particularly British people. And I'm Irish, so my people didn't exactly conquer the whole world. But predominantly the British and Americans were able to go and insert themselves and dominate other cultures and conquer them by force. And the whole world is about being conquered or conquering. And white people, because they have not stood up for themselves, they are losing the nations they once conquered.
that's very curious. There are a number of points there that are strange. Number one, you're Irish. I was just recently in Ireland. I surmise that damn near the whole of Ireland would disagree with your politics. Moreover, you're suggesting that the inclination to conquer RAPE, steal people's lands, erase their cultures, and kill is the natural instinct of humankind. I would actually forward that that is a unique instinct of the European. And the evidence today, when you look at countries that have significant military capacity, you'll find that they do not display the vicious imperialist behavior of the European nations. And so what you're describing is not the nature of man. You're describing the nature of the devil. Man, wherever you may find him, we can consider the Chinese because they're a very much so an up and coming power. In fact, I think all who are being honest would consider them the current hegemon. But the difference between, say, a Chinese power and a European power is that the Chinese tend to not go and invade other countries. There's no doubt that they have the population to do so. The argument of the Germans, Lebensraum, or the argument of the Israelis or the Americans, sea to shining sea. Surely the Chinese can make the same argument with a billion plus population, but they don't. They don't go and steal and take over. And so what you'd have to do is first acknowledge that the nature of the European is unique, and it's uniquely bad, in fact, and that the things that you're noting are quite evil things. I yield the floor.
Well, I'm not someone who looks back at this time we're in and say atrocities are a good thing, but every single culture is capable of atrocities. And to say that I need to apologize for things that were done, I just reject that premise. I think white people in general, they have went out to different places, they explored, they colonized, they conquered North America. They went out and took Australia. In Africa, right? There were African tribes, the Oyo Empire, Oyo Empire in Africa that owned 700,000 plus African slaves. So to say that slavery and conquering is a unique European thing, I would say Europeans were the ones who were able to conquer and enslave better than anyone else at the rules as they were at those times in history. It does not mean that I look at that today and say that's what we should do again today, but the rules of the times were that it was to conquer, to take more, and the European was the best at doing it. And if we look at, if we do a pretend scenario, let's say
Do you mind
Africa.
if I
Yeah, sure,
respond
sure,
to some of the points before
sure,
you go
sure.
on? I don't want to interrupt you. But the fact of the matter is this is the second time you're speaking, and both times you were providing straw man and you were arguing against a straw man. For example, certain things I never said. I never said whites should feel guilty. That's what you said.
Mm-hmm.
And you also stated that slavery existed in other places outside of Europe, which is true. However, I don't think that you are sophisticated enough to explain the differences in the nature of slavery as practiced by the Europeans versus as practiced anywhere else. And that's the problem, is that the white supremacists typically are the less educated, less desired white males, and they repeat what they hear one another say, yet it's consistently uninformed. So I would yield the floor to you to describe the differences between what you call African slavery and that which we observed in the transatlantic slave trade.
Well, sure, I can describe the Arabian slave trade in Africa. There were Arab
You
slave
said
traders.
Arabian. I said transatlantic slave trade versus the
Yes, that
African slave trade. You
yes.
said
Well, the
Africans traded slaves.
Africans did trade slaves. There were
Okay, so describe the
ginormous
differences.
slave owning empires. They would have basically the history of the world is there was groups of people who either made alliances or made war. And those groups of people made villages, and they either made alliances or made war. Those villages made cities, they made alliances or war. States, same thing, and it kept going up and up and up and up the totem pole. So when we look at African slavery, there were African villages or African tribes who would have conflict with each other, and one tribe would go and conquer the other tribe, and they would enslave the people of those tribes. And some of those slaves they would sell to the white European or the Arabian slave traders from the Middle East that would come over and buy slaves. So to implicitly just put the evil white man as committing all the atrocities, they were the ones that did commit.
I never said that. I'm asking you to compare the nature of African
Well,
slavery and European slavery, because you suggested that you know something about African slavery. I know that you don't. And so I'm saying, well, go ahead and tell us what you do know.
yeah, as I said, villages, tribes, empires, right? Different areas. Tribes would fight tribes. One tribe would conquer another tribe. They would take, they would plunder, they would conquer that tribe, take their resources, take their women, take their children, make them slaves. That's what would happen in Africa. Then these tribes made empires, and these empires
Where'd you
ruled
get that
areas.
from? Like, where'd you get that from?
This is world history.
No, this is actually not world history. So, for
This
example, I took a
is.
course under Dr. Mario Ariola, who's one of the foremost scholars in this, what you're calling world history. We're specifically speaking about African history. We're particularly talking about West African history, because those enslaved in the transatlantic slave trade, also known as the Mayafa, came from Western Africa. Some of the states today you might know as Ghana, Benin, Nigeria, etc. And so what I asked you to do is to compare the enslavement that occurred in that region versus European slavery. And what you did not do is answer that question. So you named one.
Well, what do you want me to
means-
compare? They're
once-
different.
You mean they're certainly different.
Yeah.
You named one means through which someone could become a slave. You also claimed that the empires would take over each other and pillage and do all these other things, which you don't have any evidence of. But certainly they had wars, and you suggested that one could become a slave by being a POW, though you didn't use a proper term. So we agree there. What are the other means through which someone could become enslaved in West Africa?
Well, they're either a slave before and purchased, or they were free and they were conquered, right? I'm sure there are other elements that you may know of, but as far as I'm aware,
Okay,
it
so you
was either
said
they were a
in West
slave and
Africa,
bought, or they
were
were conquered.
purchased or they were conquered, which would say a
Yes.
POW. Is that it?
Sure. Yeah, yeah.
That's it.
I mean, maybe there's different tribal clans that own slaves, but what I'm saying is you weren't just a free person and randomly became a slave. You either conquered or you were bought.
Okay. You were conquered, meaning you were a POW,
Yes.
or you were purchased because you were already a slave.
Yes.
Are there any other means?
Well, I mean, I don't know how else there'd be another mean. I mean, and you can enlighten me.
You
I'm willing
research
to
this
listen.
because you're making an argument about
Well,
this.
I
You
haven't
actually-
researched every single part of the history of the world, but from my research,
We're not talking about the history
that's
of the
what I'm
world. We're
aware of.
talking about the specific situation of enslavement in West Africa
Well, those are what I'm aware of. If you can enlighten me on other ways, I'm willing to broaden my perspective and horizons. But those are what I'm aware of based
You
on
see,
my
I don't think
research.
it's reasonable that you would suggest that African slavery and European slavery were the same, essentially, if you
No,
don't
no, of
know
course
the
not. No.
nature of African slavery.
Well, they were different. Well, the thing is, all I know is what I know, what I have researched, and what I've studied. But if someone can enlighten me on other
I'm going
things
to
I was not
challenge.
aware of,
I'm going to challenge that you haven't done any research, and the reason I challenge that is because I've talked to a lot of white supremacists, and maybe of the hundreds I've talked to, and this is not new since YouTube. I used to talk to real white supremacists who are,
hmm
proactive and violent.
well, I wouldn't declare myself a supremacist. I would say each racial group has their interest, and by
Sure,
domination, others take control. Yeah.
sure. Well, I've talked to white supremacists, or in your
hmm
case, if you like, white nationalists. I've talked
Yes.
to those
Yes.
who are scholars in that movement, and I find maybe about 98% are just what I like to call dumb racists. They just
hmm
repeat what they heard others say. They've done actually no research whatsoever. So when you say your research, typically it just means that you're a quotologist. You quote things you've seen on social media. You quote Charlie Kirk, for example, or you quote some other goofball.
I mean,
And
I've
that
looked up stuff.
goofball didn't do any research either. So would you tell me what book or what scholar, maybe what scholar, that I think that's fair. Like what scholar did you learn about African slavery from?
Well, I think you're trying to get me to say, well, if I didn't take a course in it from a college, that
No, you
means
don't
I
have to
have
take a
no idea
course. You could
about
have
it,
read a
right?
book. So I'm like, what book or scholar?
I've looked online numerously. I've looked at ChatGPT. I've been online doing
Chat
research.
GPT.
But this is the thing. You want to focus on African slavery,
No,
right?
no, no. I want to focus on making sure that you're making arguments that have a premise that is reasonable. And you already started two arguments, and you're arguing against points I never made, mind you, which lets
Mhm.
me know that you're kind of just going
Well,
through
maybe
like
it's
a
not you made them,
program.
but people
Yeah.
have made them.
Yes.
And I
Well, if people have
apologize
made them,
if I
yes.
you felt that I said you did it.
It's not what I feel. I'm operating on rationality. It's what I've
hmm
observed. I'm listening to you. To observe attentively is to remember distinctly, and I'm observing attentively. So, number one, with regards to African slavery, if you say that your research consists of Chat GPT, then I would have
Well, why
to,
don't you enlighten me?
well, first, I need to tell you that that's not research.
Well, how am I
And
wrong?
wait, first,
You
wait,
tell
first,
me.
do you realize that Chat GPT is not research? You realize
I
that?
have looked online, ChatGPT.
No,
I've
I
read
will enlighten you.
numerous
I'm more
books.
than happy to enlighten you. But do
Please
you
do.
realize that Chat GPT is not research? That's not
ChatGPT
researching.
can give you certain sources and you can go look up those sources. But if I'm wrong by what I'm saying, if there's a different way someone became a slave other than one already being a slave and purchased, or they were free and conquered, please let
I'm
me
just
know
real
what
quick.
those other ways are.
I want to make sure that we're operating a on a basic level so that we can be reasonable. So just on a basic level, I want to understand, do you realize that Chat GPT is not researching? Like that's not research.
It's not peer reviewed studied. It's not from a university.
It,
But
it
to
seems
this
like you have
point,
trouble with
you're talking
honesty.
about ChatGPT.
You
You're
have
not
trouble with
talking about how I'm
honesty.
wrong. How am
I
I wrong?
will, but first we need to deal with this basic.
Okay.
Are you willing to concede Chat GPT is not research?
Okay. I'm an idiot. I don't know what I'm talking about.
No,
I'm a
I'm not
stupid
trying
white
to
person.
degrade you. I'm just trying to
Now,
make sure
now,
that we're on the
can
same
you tell
page.
me how I'm
You
wrong?
don't have to
Can you
be
tell me how I'm
sarcastic. You
wrong?
can be sincere. You don't have to be
Okay, can you
sarcastic.
tell
Just
me
be
how I'm wrong?
sincere. So I'm asking you, do you realize that Chat GPT is not research?
Sure,
Okay,
sure.
very good. Great. And this is important because there are people who are watching and they too have to learn. So number one, Chat GPT is not research. I'm glad we're on the same page there.
Okay, how am I wrong?
It is an aggregator. So it pulls together different sources, which could include Reddit, which is user generated, could include Wikipedia, which can have submissions from everyday people, which means morons.
Yes, sure.
Now,
You have to do more
that
research.
being the
Yes,
case, you were speaking about enslavement that occurred in
yes,
Africa by
yes,
Africans.
yes.
There were typical ways that one could become a slave. One being becoming a POW, a prisoner of war. Another one being that you could, as you said, be purchased because you were already in the state of being
hmm
a slave. This would be within a given tribe, nation,
hmm
or political organization. And then the part that you miss is that you might be a criminal and then you might end up in servitude as a result of being a criminal.
But so we have 13th Amendment here. Yeah, we still have that today.
Now, what you did not have is you were not a slave based on your birth, based on your ethnic or racial grouping. Those are important differences. And furthermore, the institution of slavery was not brutal as we observe with chattel slavery in the United States. What we can agree on is generally probably slavery may be something that's a little bit off color, a little bit negative in either case. But what the Europeans did, the viciousness and brutality and evil of it is unparalleled. For example, if I were to ask you what's a common punishment that Africans did unto their slaves, there aren't things that are institutionalized such as lynchings or castration or the nature of torture or cutting off limbs, which you would have seen done in the Congo by the Belgians.
Did that never happen? Did they never
Well, do you
beat
know,
their
scholar?
slaves? Or I mean, I'm pretty sure it did. There were millions of slaves
See,
there.
what
I'd
you can't
assume
do
some
is
would
in a
gotten beaten
debate,
up.
you should not speculate. In a debate, you should come prepared to have discussions. And that's why I am actually the leader of the white supremacist movement, because most of you guys are too dumb. You're too dumb. You're not what your forefathers were. You guys are the dumb whites. You see, the intelligent whites, you know, your Benjamin Franklins, your innovators, guys like that, not enough of them anymore. And so I have to take leadership of this movement because most of you guys don't even know your own history, and you're not able to bring the whites of today any higher because you're not focused on the whites and your challenges. You're mostly hateful. You're focused on hating others. And that's the fundamental problem with the movement is you guys are not honest. Number one, you're liars. And number two, you're not realistic. I yield the floor.
Well, I do not have hatred for someone based just on their skin color. There are people who are white who are terrible. There are people who are black who are terrible. But what I have to do is understand people that look like me, who have my religion, who share my values, likely are more similar and aligned to myself and my interest. And it is smart to upfront be more understanding and be more aligned with them. Now, different groups have different interests. Black people, they're tribal today. Hispanics are tribal. Asians are tribal. But white people have stopped being tribal, and that has been to our detriment. That has been to us
Is that
losing.
true?
Every other group is tribal.
No, is it true
When,
that white people aren't tribal?
not anymore. Not,
Is
not as
that
much as they
true?
have. Our, as you say, the white supremacy movement, our blonde Aryan leader is in a commune in Portland, engaging in I don't know if I can say it, but yeah, that's where a lot of the white Aryans are now. They're not leading the movement. They've kind of just surrendered.
If you would help me real quick, and this is an important thing, and I've helped the white supremacists with this one a lot. I'd like to see where you are with this one. What is it to be white? Like, if you want to define what is a white person, I'm going to take some notes right here. What is a white person?
Well, that's a very good question, and,
Thank you,
and
sir.
whiteness has expanded. It used to be Anglo-Saxons, right? I'm part Irish. I was not always considered white. I was one of the dirty Irish people in the 1800s that they didn't like too much. But in time, we kind of assimilated into what whiteness is, and I would generally broadly say whiteness is generally European. Well, not generally, is European heritage to an extent, but whiteness has expanded beyond just Anglo-Saxon because part Irish people were not considered white. And for me, I guess it kind of just like, if you look white, I would presume you're white, you know?
Okay. So here's an important thing. I surmise you've not grown up among black people.
I have actually. I have not lived with, but when I was a kid, a lot of my best friends were black. I went into, I lived in West Palm Beach for a little bit in Florida.
Curious.
So I do know a decent amount of black people, but I have not, grew up, I guess, in
Yeah.
the same house. But
Curious. Okay. Fascinating. And if you're in Florida, these are not foundational black Americans. You might be dealing with Jamaicans or
yeah,
Haitians or
Jamaican. Yeah, it's not a
Caribbeans.
lot are not.
It's a
Yeah.
different thing. But shout out to my Jamaicans. I actually have a reggae album for folks who'd like to check that out. It's on all places you stream music. Check out Marquettism, The Saint and the Sinner. Now, Black Americans, we have a lot of cultural idioms, which are actually quite popular. You may have heard this one. It's, make it plain. Or we'll say, you're talking, but you ain't saying shit.
Yeah.
Which, so when I say, what is it to be white? If you'd be kind enough to just give me 3 points, not what whiteness used to be, but what is whiteness today for you? If you want to define like the white man and woman, what are 3 features you would give me?
Well, I mean, it would pretty much just be one of, European heritage, and you look white. I mean, I don't spend too much time doing DNA tests on people. I'm not really with the Aryan, I don't know if I can say
did you take a DNA test?
Yeah, I have. Yeah.
Okay. Would you be kind enough to show us the results? I can give you the screen share.
No, I don't have the results on my phone, but I was 50%.
The results
Irish.
are emailed to you. You can also access them on the website.
Yeah, well, I don't have. It would be deep in my emails. It was something I did like 3 years ago. It's not something I'm not someone who's so much like I have to make sure that they're pure Aryan blood. Like, that's not something I'm concerned about. I'm concerned about white people not standing up for themselves and being afraid to advocate for themselves. That's my problem.
That's tough. Okay. So when you say European heritage, how much European heritage does one need?
I mean, for me, it's like do they look white? I mean, that's pretty much what it is. And even if they don't,
because
look
I'll be
white,
honest with you. You look Jewish to me. No, really, you look Jewish, and in fact, I took a degree in political science with a focus on autocratic regimes. So studied a lot of the fascists and a lot of the Nazis, and they actually used to have propaganda that they would give the Aryan German children to describe what a Jew looks like. And obviously dark hair was one of them. You have dark hair. And then the shape of the nose would be yet another one. You have the nose shape. So like, to me, you look Jewish, which I also categorize as white. Do you also categorize Jewish as white?
No, I wouldn't. No.
Now that's strange because most every Jew that has ruled Israel, if you track where they're from Europe, Hungary.
Well, if they have a European
Poland,
heritage, I mean,
Ukraine.
well, technically, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, things for me, I'm not super obsessed with like, are they white? Do they have the exact DNA makeup? That's not my thing, right? Maybe some people,
Well, it'd have to be a
them.
little bit bizarre if you're not obsessed with how white a person is, because
Not really.
degree does matter. Because, for example, like I have white DNA, so obviously I'm not a white person. So the question is, well, what percentage of white makes you white? So if I have 20% white DNA and I look like this, well, then what percentage do you need to legitimately be a white person?
To me personally, and I can only speak for myself. I can't speak for every. All I am is an individual who has beliefs. I can't speak for every white person, but I would say if you appear white, I would assume you're white. Like, I might have African DNA. If I showed up to the Black Student Union saying I want to join as a Black person, I mean,
They'll
I
let
don't
you
think you
join.
consider me.
They'll look at you funny, but they'll let you join. That's how Black people are, actually. So Black people are very accepting. In fact, I'd argue that colored people generally are quite accepting, and that's been largely their problem, is because unlike those of European heritage, colored people are very warm and accepting. If you look at the journals of Christopher Columbus, one of your guys, and you can reference the scholar Dr. Ivan von Sertima, they talk about his journals that he recorded upon coming to the Americas by accident. And he recorded that these people are so open, kind, friendly, and giving that if you would ask for something, they would give it to you thoughtlessly. There's no conception of private property. They're so open and friendly that they will be easy to conquer. And that quintessentially expresses the European mentality, which is one of domination and viciousness, not able to truly appreciate the goodness of this people, but rather to think it's easy to steal their stuff. I yield the floor.
And this kind of gets to the bigger question. Why are you bringing this specific thing up about white atrocities committed? And this is, I think it's very important
What
for all
atrocity
people.
did I just reference?
Well, you're talking about you're hinting at it. Christopher Columbus, he conquered and enslaved a
You
lot of
have missed the
people.
point. We're
But
talking
but
about
can I
nature.
respond to that
We're
point?
talking
Because
about
you're trying
nature.
to do a guilt trip, right? You're trying to do a
No,
guilt
sir.
trip. You're
No,
trying to
sir.
make
You're not
me.
Spanish. You said you're Irish. So that doesn't
But
make
okay,
sense.
but the thing is, this is the bigger agenda at play for white people here, right? They tell
But you don't
us
know what white is. That's my whole point, is that when you say white people, you haven't even defined white. And
it's
that's why I have to
European
question the
heritage and
IQ.
you look white. That's what I consider
Do
white.
you realize
People
you
have
look
different
white?
things.
Can you define you look white, please? Because I'm actually
If
taking
you
notes here.
appear, well, everyone has their own different perspective of
Yes,
it.
but I'm not asking everyone. I'm asking you. And I would be very
In my
thankful.
perspective, is it's a look test. If your skin appears white, I would presume
No, I'm
you're
literally
white.
taking notes. I
But
literally am.
but
That's how much respect
can
I
I
have
get?
for you. I'm taking notes. You said
Well,
European
I
heritage.
appreciate that.
I wrote that down. And then you said look white. And I cannot
Yes.
write that down because that
Okay.
doesn't make
Okay. Well,
sense.
everyone has to figure that out for themselves, right? There's
Wait,
people that are more
what?
into it than me, but the point is of what
How
I
can
am
you be a white
saying is
nationalist if you don't know what it is to be white? Do you realize that's a touch ludicrous?
it
Little
is
ludicrous.
it is European white. That's what it is. You look white, you look European. If majority of people think you look white, you're white. But the greater point of what I said is this thing about slavery, Jim Crow, evil white man. It's to make me feel guilty. It's to make
Why
me
do you think it's
say
to make you
I'm
feel
a bad
guilty?
person.
Why do
It's
you
to
think
make
that? Where'd
me
you get it from?
say, let me open the floodgates and let Somalians, let all these other people who hate white people, who hate Christianity into the West. It's for me to lose my country and to be reconquered. So this is
Reconquered?
why these things are
What do you mean
told.
reconquered? What are you talking about?
White people, well, British people always had Britain, German people always had German. American, well, Europeans conquered the American nation and made their own nation. And mass migration is how we are being reconquered.
You said reconquered. Linguistically, that means that you've been conquered before. So I'm asking you, who conquered you before?
Well, get conquered, I guess that would be the specific thing, right?
Okay.
But you go.
Yes. And we both, I think, know what the word conquered means. And so what you're
Mm-hmm.
actually describing is not conquest. And the reason I spoke to the nature of the European earlier is because it is unique in the context of the human spectrum. And the colored peoples tend to not be, conquering peoples. It's not in their nature. You mentioned a matter of capacity. I used the Chinese as an example. They clearly have the capacity. They've not shown this level of viciousness. So when you
Well,
find
China's in
a,
deep trouble, actually, if you look deeply into it. Their birth rate is collapsing.
well, they have a billion people. I think they'll be okay. I think they'll be just fine. And
No,
if you
they
look
have a
at
serious
if you look at
issue.
race categorically, you're trying to get me off topic, but I'll just entertain this momentarily and then I'll get back to where I was because I have a
Sure,
good
sure.
memory. But if you look at race categorically, and we'll look at the three primary categories that still exist, because you guys kind of eradicated one of the categories, which is the red man. But if we look at the primary anthropological categories, which would be Mongoloid, Negroid, Caucasoid, and we'd say you fit into the Caucasoid category, I fit into the Negroid category. In those three categories, if you total up and tally up the number of persons in the Mongoloid category, more so we can call it Asian to make it simple. You have the Chinese have in excess of a billion people, and then you also have to add in the rest of Asia, right?
Mm-hmm.
Japan, Korea, Southeast Asia, which would include the Philippines, Laos, Cambodia, etc., and Indonesia, which also I think has probably in a billion people. So the Asians are doing fine. The Africans are doing okay, even though we have a lot of ecological problems and also you guys trying to kill us through biological warfare.
Shame. Yeah,
But
it's me.
they have explosive population. Nigeria, Ethiopia are great
Yeah, yeah,
examples of
they
that.
do.
Whereas if you look at the Europeans, their population is in decline. But that's
Yeah.
not because of anyone else. It's not because of the colored peoples of the world. It's because of the Europeans, and it's because of your own sickness, namely that which you would call feminism and liberalism. And those
Yeah.
are two creations of the white people that are hurting the white people. So
Oh,
why
it
do you
wasn't
even
by the
need
white
to?
people. It was
Well, who was
by
it by?
starts with a J. I can't
Yes,
say
it
it,
starts with
but
a J, but all of those people are Europeans. They're white. That's why I asked you to define what white is, and you failed to do that.
there are elite interest of the Jays. Well, they see themselves
The J's
as
are white.
Jays. They see themselves, though. Okay, they may be from
You,
Europe,
you,
but
you
they see
literally said
themselves.
if you look white, you're white, and the Jays for
Can
sure look
I
white. In fact, the ones that
can
you're
I
talking about,
can
they
I
come from
answer the
Europe.
question? The Jays, they stay tribal. They may have European heritage, but they stay tribal. They marry within each other. They have their own communities. They advocate for each other's interest, and that's how they've been so successful in being able to get institutional power throughout the world. There are the non-Jays European. They used to be able to have a lot of power over the world, but because they got soft in the J propaganda, the highest levels, not the
Do you
small
realize you're
guy who was a
talking about
tailor.
whites going against whites? Do you realize that?
It's white on white crime. Yeah, it's
There
white
you
on white
go. It's
crime.
white
Yeah,
on white
that's what it
crime.
is, and
Yes.
it's
So
it's a
why do you
problem.
even bring up the colored peoples of the world? That's not your issue. Your issue is your own people. You have to clean your house.
My issue is not with certain people, and I would agree with that, but my issue is not with individual people. It is people that do not speak our language, that do not share our culture, coming into this country, millions upon millions upon millions coming in per the year.
Do
That
you know who let
is,
them in?
it was a white guy.
The whites. Yes, the whites.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
And there are some white saboteurs who do not advocate for our interest. And what tell white people, okay, that's what I tell white people. I'm starting out on social media, been banned a few times, but what I tell white people, okay, it's okay to advocate for yourself. It's okay to protect your country. There's nothing wrong with saying I want to live
But
around
you
white
guys are
people.
doing well. How do you know it's not just you doing poorly? White people are doing quite well. What if it's just you doing poorly and then you're projecting that? If you look at the data, if you get a list of the billionaires, we'll find that most billionaires are in America. And if you look
Mm-hmm.
at that list, you'll find that most billionaires are white. So
Mm-hmm.
why do you feel
Well,
like
I'll
there's so
tell
much
you what
trouble?
sold out the white working man in the West. It was elite whites that had
Elite
power
whites, yes.
who shipped jobs overseas, lobbied the government for no tariffs, lobbied the government for tax cuts. They made their products overseas and sold them back in the West and made a higher profit, where the working class, non educated white man was not able to get those jobs. The working class, non educated white man, because they couldn't have a job, they couldn't have a family. And then those same powerful elite whites said that our population's going down. We need more people to come here. That's when they imported a bunch of people from the third world, from Africa, from South America, Central America, to create a tension in the country because they know diversity is not a strength. People that do not share your culture, your values, your beliefs do not strengthen you. They war against you. And that's what we've seen in the United States. That's what we've seen in the West. The people who
What's the
are,
number one issue for the white American, if you will, the white
well, I
American?
say the white liberal is the big problem
It's a big
because
problem. The white
they're the
liberals.
one causing it. And I think
Okay.
you and I could agree on this point. The white liberal is what screwed up Black America. The Great Society was the
I
worst
think
thing that was.
just like I tell my white supremacist followers that you have to clean your house first. So the number
Yeah.
one enemy of the white man is the liberal white woman, it turns out.
Oh yeah,
And
preach,
the number
preach.
one enemy of black people is their own nature to not be able to recognize their enemy, to be too open and loving and accepting to those who hate them. That's the first issue. You can't expect your
I would say the white
conqueror.
liberal has that issue too.
You
There's
can't.
there's
May I complete a sentence?
I was saying the white liberal. Okay, there's white liberals that have evil intention that are smart. They're not stupid. They
No, they're definitely
know.
not stupid. In fact, they have higher IQ on average than white conservatives. So no, they're not stupid. They're
I'd have
actually
to look
smarter.
into it potentially. I mean, on average, I don't know. I haven't studied that particular point. But what I'm saying is there are some white liberals who know what they're doing, and there are some white liberals who are victims of the propaganda. That's all I'm saying.
What if white liberals have figured out that whites have evil in their nature and they're trying to reduce the impact of the inherent evil on the globe?
Well, I'd have to look at the white liberal intention, but if we look at crime rates in the United States, it's not white people that are committing vast majority of the violent crime. It's people that are African American. Those are the people, men
That's actually quite
particularly.
fascinating. Let's talk about that. And again, I predict that you guys use all of the same talking points are actually generally very
I've looked
thoughtless.
at FBI data.
So
I've looked at,
let's
yeah.
let's get into it, if you don't mind. You wouldn't
Sure.
mind doing a little bit of thinking with me, would you?
Yeah, of course, of course.
Okay. Would you say that murder is bad?
Yeah.
Okay. What is murder, if you don't mind? Just so make sure we understand it as the
It,
same
it
thing.
is it is the unjustified taking of a life.
Unjustified. You see, justified is the tough part because that's the opinion, right?
Well, yeah,
Would you?
everything comes down to opinion. I mean, that's
Ah, ha, ha, ha. Okay.
if someone breaks into my house and
Uh
I
huh.
pew them,
Uh
that would
huh.
be a justified killing. There's a difference between, or
Uh
can we say
huh.
these terms or no?
Yeah. Yeah. We'll go with it. So let me just move this along a little faster. When you have the Nazi Party ruling over Germany, they have laws that themselves are wicked. And so what happens is if you look at the crime data, I don't know if you can say it's reliable in as much as the criminals are actually the ones running the government and creating the laws. Similarly, in the United States, we actually have the criminals are the government and they're the ones creating the laws. And they don't respect any law. I'll give you some good examples of this. You saw Donald Trump has violated international law when he was murdering civilians who were on those private vessels off the coast of Venezuela. Do you
Well, who
realize that's
decides
murder?
what international
One
law
second.
is?
One
That's the
second.
UN.
1 second. If you wouldn't mind, do you realize that he was violating international law and murdering those persons?
And to some people's opinions, they may have that interpretation, but
We're
I
not talking
see
about
he
some
was
peoples. We're talking about there are
well,
international
yes,
bodies who have predefined this before he did it.
international
So if
bodies
you
that
don't
we
mind,
fund.
if you don't mind using honesty rather
I'm
than
being honest.
escapism.
At the end of the day, it's the laws of power that rule the world. It's not the rule
Ah,
of law.
okay, very good. Thank you.
That's
So
what
we'll
rules
take
the
that
world.
then. We'll take that then. So you say it's the laws of power.
Yes.
That being the case, when you bring up your FBI statistics, it's all fraudulent because the laws of power enable certain groups to define what something is or isn't and what's included. And so my question to you is if we just look at it in a simple sense without the opinions, right? The perspective on what's good and what's bad, and we just look at a simple definition of murder is when a human takes or ends another human's life. And if we look at that simple definition where we don't have to
Unjustifiably.
be, no, sir, that's subjective. I think
Well, it's subjective to
you're
the
reaching the
courts.
limit of your IQ here because you were just objecting to who
I never
defines
insulted your
international
IQ. I
law
don't know
with
why you're
regard.
insulting
One
mine.
second. You were just objecting to who defines international law because it's subjective. And now you're inserting
Yeah,
subjectivity back into the discussion. So I'm asking you to stop contradicting yourself, number one.
I'm
And
not
number two,
contradicting myself.
yes, you are contradicting yourself because when we define that Trump broke international law, all of a sudden you said, well, who's the one creating the laws?
Who's going to stop them?
You're having trouble focusing. The
If
question is
someone
not who's
breaks
going to
into my
stop him.
home
Listen, the
and
question is not who's going to stop him. The question
yeah,
is it murder or is it not murder?
I do not
And for
consider it now.
you, you're saying justification matters. Well, then who defines what's justified? In the case of international law, what's justified is defined by an international body. Typically, we might reference the International Criminal Court. We might reference the United Nations. And those are the same bodies that are saying that Donald Trump has not been justified. He's in fact broken international law. So according to international law, that was extrajudicial, that was illegal. But the problem is that you're saying no, no, no. And that's why I'm
Well,
saying
according to that,
I
yes, it may be. Yes, according to their taking of the law, yes. But in that regard, so is President Barack Obama when he did drone strikes in the Middle East. So is every single other American president who
which is
violates.
irrelevant to the current conversation, you realize.
I think it's
You
somewhat
realize
relevant.
that's literally irrelevant to the current conversation. You have to stay focused. You have to stop with the red herrings, the
I'm
distractions.
staying very
You have to
focused. You're
stay
the one getting
focused here.
emotional here.
You have to stay
I'm
focused.
fine.
You have to
Okay,
stay focused here.
I'll focus.
You're having trouble. I notice every time I ask you a question, you start talking about a bunch of things. I asked you to define the white race. You couldn't do it. And definition is fairly basic. You see, you can't even make an argument without making a definition or making sure that we're agreeing to a definition. but you weren't even able to define what a white person is
I
while
did.
being
I
a white
did.
nationalist. No, you didn't.
It's white. It is white skin, European heritage.
White
That's what I consider
skin,
it.
European heritage. And then I asked you, what percentage of heritage would you have to have, genetically
Okay, but
speaking?
I haven't thought of the specifics. If I would say 75% you would look white. So I mean,
Okay.
I guess that's a
And
fair
then
answer.
my challenge,
75%.
because as I said, you look Jewish and you said you took a DNA test. I said, would you mind sharing your DNA results? Because I don't think you're white. And
Well,
you won't even
I
share
don't
your
have them.
results. That's
I don't
bizarre
have them
though,
in front
because
of
we
me.
all know if you go into your email address, all you have to do is type in like ancestry.com or whoever you took your results with, and it will pop right up and you can just log in, or they actually email it. You can just show us. Like, why are you scared to do that? Were you
I don't
lying?
even remember what.
Were you lying
I
to us?
think it was ancestry. I think
Were
it's.
you lying to us?
I got a thing back here. So, where is it?
You
I
can.
don't know.
It's okay if you
Thing
lied.
is,
I've lied
I
before
don't need
too
to
on
find.
accident.
I don't need
I
to find
understand,
it.
but
I
if
don't
you
need to
lied,
prove
you can just say
anything
I
to
lied.
you.
I've lied before in my
Well,
life as well.
I don't have to prove. I don't have to
I'm a
prove
human
anything
being
to
just
you.
like you.
Right?
So if
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
lied, you can just say that you lied.
I've lied in life. You've lied in life.
Yes, I
I
know.
do
So
not have it
you lied
pulled up in
about.
front
Did
of
you
me.
lie about taking the DNA
I did
test,
not
or
lie
did you
about
lie?
it.
You did not lie about taking
That's
it.
what I said the truth. Now, do you want
You
to get onto the
just real quick.
international
No,
law
real quick.
point, or do you want to
So
focus on my whiteness?
no, your whiteness is important
Okay.
because it can help us define. Because if you consider yourself white, but you only have like 60% European DNA, then we
I
can
guess I'm an
redefine it.
ally. I'm an ally then.
I know, right?
I'm not a pure
But
white. I'm an ally.
may I ask you, if you are all about being white, which is a racial thing, which is in turn a biological and genetic thing, as you understand it, why won't you share what your genetics are?
I'm not going to spend 20 minutes to
No,
find it.
it
I
won't
did it
take
like
20 minutes, really.
3 years
Really, it would
ago.
actually only take 1 minute. And if you want to take 20 minutes, we'll give you 20, but I think it would only take one
Okay,
minute unless you were lying.
I have no desire to look through all these things
No,
and
but we have a desire
show
to
what I am.
know. We have a desire
Okay,
to know.
that's not what the conversation was on, right? So I
No,
don't.
the conversation is about race. I'm literally asking about your race. So this is actually
Okay,
perfectly on the
so we were
conversation
talking
topic.
about race. I defined now with clarity. 75% plus European, you're white. That's what I considered.
75 plus DNA. And yes, and now I'm interested in, are you white?
When I looked at it, it was 90 or 80. It was in the high 80s, low 90s white, the European.
And I'm
That's
saying,
what
do you
it
mind if we
was.
take a look?
I'm not going to go through all my phones and find it. Okay. I have like four
What do you,
phones. Okay.
it's not
The
about going through your phones. Like this is not 1992. You just have to go in your email
okay.
address because they're going to email you the results.
Do you want to talk about the international law
I'm just,
thing, or are you just
I'm
focused
just truly
on my
curious as to
whiteness?
why you won't share your DNA results.
Okay. Do you want, I don't
No,
know
I'm
where
just
it is.
asking why
Okay.
you don't want to share your
Oh my
DNA
God. What
results.
do you want me to say? I'm lying so we can move on? Okay. Yes, I made it up.
No,
Okay.
I'm asking why. I'm just
Can
curious.
we,
I'm just
I
curious.
don't
If I
know
was a
where
white
it is.
supremacist and I
Okay.
was like 90%
I
European or
never said I
100%,
was a white supremacist. I'm a
or
white
a white nationalist, there you go.
nationalist.
Yeah, a white nationalist.
Yes.
If I was a white
Or if I'm
nationalist, I
not
would,
pure white, I'm an ally. I'm an ally.
huh.
Okay. Well,
People are saying you're Jewish in the live chat.
well, they can feel however they want, right? It's not my
But why
job
not just show us the DNA
to
test?
make every
That's why technology is so
single
great.
person. Yeah.
As a white
I don't
supremacist, I
know
really
where it is.
appreciate
Okay.
that the whites have created this opportunity for us to verify who is and who
Do
is
you want
not
to
white.
talk about the international law thing, or do you just want to focus on my whiteness?
No, I want to first take care of the white thing and then we can go on to greater arguments. And I'm just
Okay.
curious as to like
I
why
don't
you won't
know. I
show.
don't know where it is. I just saw a document that I got three years ago or 4 years ago, and
Yeah.
it said it was like 80s, 90% white. Okay. I don't know where it is. Okay.
I think there's only two major companies that do the DNA testing.
What
So you just have to
do you
type
want
in
to
one
keep
or the
talking
other
about
one.
this, or do you want to talk about the issues that we were talking about?
Well, I think us knowing if you're white or not
Okay,
is
I'm not going to be able to
fundamental.
prove to you I'm white. So, do we want to keep talking about this, or do
Huh.
we want to?
Yeah, I know it's like either Ancestry or it's 23andMe. It's like literally if you just type one or the other in your email, it'll just pop right up.
Okay,
Be really quick, like super
but do
quick.
you?
Take like a
Okay,
minute.
so I
Take
can't
like
find
one
it for
minute.
you. So what do you want to do
But
from here?
why though? Like why don't you want to check?
Okay, do you want to talk about
No, I'm just
international
asking
law
you. Why
and
don't you want
Trump?
to check one time? Like, why don't you want to check?
What do you want me to say?
No,
I
I'm
made it up or
asking you,
whatever?
why are you not
Okay.
answering the
I
question? The
made it
question is,
up.
why don't you
It
want to check?
never
Okay.
happened. I
Okay.
made the
Okay.
whole thing
Okay.
up.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Anyways, so let's look, you were talking about crime. And I think one of the most heinous crimes is murder, which is a human being taking the life of other human beings.
Yeah.
And we should really invest in stopping this particular crime because it is among the worst on earth. Some would say it is the worst. In my opinion, it's not the worst. But with that being the case, we really need to look at, well, who are the murderers on earth? And let's just do a little bit of back of the napkin math, if you don't mind. So it is conservatively estimated that the Europeans eradicated about 120 million persons from North America alone. And also, we see that you guys are still at war right now in Ukraine. For example, Ukraine and Russia, those are both European countries.
I'm worried about America. I'm America
I hear you,
first.
buddy. I hear
That's
you.
my
I hear you,
that's
buddy.
my
But we're
concern.
talking about white, which is a racial grouping, and you say that you're America first, but you're talking about European heritage just a moment ago. So
That
America's a
is what white
nationality.
is defined.
Yes, America's a nationality, and European, as you
That was
reference it, is a racial
predominantly
category.
European. Yes.
Correct. So right now I'm talking about Europeans, which are white people. Pay attention. Now,
Yes.
so we have looked at the murder rate, and I think that's the most important rate. The murder rate of the whites is just so much higher. Not only is it higher than the blacks that you referenced.
Then go live in
One
Compton.
second,
Go
one
live in
second,
go
one
live in
second. You don't
O'Block.
have
If
to
these
interrupt.
black
You don't have to
neighborhoods are
calm
so
down.
safe, go
Calm
live
down.
there.
You don't have to interrupt. Calm down, young man. You don't have to interrupt. Calm down. Just calm down. Just calm down for a moment. Don't interrupt. Be civil. Not only are whites way more violent than blacks, I would even charge that if you took every racial group except whites, Asians, Arabs, indigenous people, and blacks, and you put them all together, still the murder rate of the whites dwarfs every other type of human. You guys are the most vicious, violent, evil-natured humans
Then
on
why do you all
earth.
want to live here?
One second,
Why
calm
do you all
down.
want to be here?
Calm
Nope,
down.
it's not safe. We're
Wait,
dangerous.
calm down. Let me finish.
Why
And
do you
this is
live
what
here?
happens when the truth comes out. You just can't control yourself. You start getting
All right,
uncivil.
I
Calm
won't
down.
speak.
Calm down. One second. Calm down. So your murder rate is so much higher than every other group. So we probably should be focused on dealing with the violent nature of the whites as opposed to anything else, because I think it's the most critical thing. I yield the floor.
Well, we look at today, okay, inner cities. It is predominantly unfathered, uneducated.
Are you going to respond to my actual argument?
I am responding to your argument. Young black men that are committing the crimes in our inner cities. That's the truth. You know it. I know it. Everybody knows it. It's not a conspiracy theory. Now, to address your point, this world was a very, 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 still is, vicious place. White people, they conquered, they committed atrocities. Mongolians under Genghis Khan, they conquered, they committed atrocities. Atrocities, I don't know, say that word, mass atrocities are not exclusively to white people. You can go back and forth.
Is there a
on saying,
preponderance?
I mean, if we look at North America and Australia, they have committed, white people, when they conquered, when they warred, they committed many atrocities. That's what
Well,
the
what I'm
growth of
asking
the
you
world was.
is there a preponderance? Is there a clear indication that whites are more inclined to commit genocide and
Well,
feel
they were the
fine
one
about
that,
it?
that conquered most of the world. So according to that, our world, we don't have alternate realities, but according to our world, they committed more than likely the most amount of mass crimes growing the world
By far, right?
on this world. And can I give you a thought experiment? I'm very curious what you would say to this. It's a real quick thought experiment.
You don't want to finish the current topic first?
But I think it comes down to, okay, this happened, but what do we do about it now? Right.
Yes,
and this
what we
stuff
do
is
about it
told.
now is we get whites under control so they stop killing. World War I, whites. World War II, whites.
We're under control.
World War III, whites. We have to get your nature under control. People like you have to stop thinking that mass murder is cool. Like you got to stop.
Cool.
You got to stop.
It's cool.
No, you guys do think it's cool, and you have no qualms about it. You have no moral qualms.
You're saying you guys.
Yes, yes,
like
the white
name.
collective. That's
And
correct.
I
The white
just
collective.
said, I don't think mass murder's cool.
Well, you
I
must
don't
because we
think
hear you
that
defending
stuff's
it.
cool.
We hear you defending it, so you must.
This world was very vicious, was
The
very
world has always
violent,
been the
and it
same.
and
Stop it.
it comes down to what do we do about that now? Why are you trying
I
to
just
come with
answered
this?
it. I told you we have to get
You
whites under
say we need
control
to
so they
get
can stop
whiteness
killing so
under
many people.
control, these dangerous white people committing these atrocities. Why? And that's the thing every white person has to ask. Why are they telling us this? Why are they telling us this? Is it they want us to
Well,
have
let's think
compassion?
about, I'll give you an example.
It's
I'll give you an
because they
example.
want us to surrender our countries to the
I'll give you an example,
barbarians. They
young
want
man.
us to
So
surrender our
are the
lands.
whites, like, in fact, let me use your knowledge real quick. Let's use your knowledge.
Sure.
Name me 2 black countries that have attacked other countries in 2025.
I know there's a civil war going on. Well, Somalia, they're having a giant tribal civil war.
Okay, I'm going to
But
repeat the question just to help you
they
out.
are
Name
having,
2 black countries that have attacked other countries. That's the question. Now go.
they are, I get you're trying to push your narrative here because
I asked you a
technically
simple
if
question.
we look
Name
at the
2
world,
black countries that have attacked other countries in 2025. That's what I asked you. Keep your hands up. We don't want you.
if I
We don't
answer
want you using
this,
Chat GPT. Just keep your hands up. If you can keep
my
them in the
hands are
view.
right here.
Now,
My
just
hands have
answer
been
the
all
question.
here.
Just answer the question.
If I answer this, will you answer my hypothetical?
We can go through your hypothetical. I
But
got
will
you
you
on a
answer it?
logic. I got you on a logic line real quick. So there's a few
Okay,
more
I will
points. So
answer if you
can get
agree. You'll
after it.
answer my hypothetical.
I told you I will engage it once we finish my logic
Okay.
lines. No problem at all.
As far as I know, 2 black countries that have been recognized by the United Nations, by the world, by other nations. To the best of my knowledge, there has not been 2 black nations, predominantly black nations, that have engaged in a war. There's been tribal conflicts going on in all these
Okay.
regions, but
All
as
right.
far as I know,
So
2
your answer
nations
is that you cannot name 2 black countries that have attacked any other country on the planet Earth. Okay, fantastic. Now, are you able to name, I don't know, say 2 white countries? And when I say white, that means that the primary population is white and or the primary composition of the leadership class is white. Can you name 2 white countries that have engaged
Well,
in
I
war?
think Russia and Ukraine is what you're going to
There's
reference.
2. Can you name another 2?
Azerbaijan, that's not really West Middle
I
Eastern.
wouldn't really
I know they're having a conflict with
them
each
white.
other.
But how about the United States? I said attacked another country. With the United States, there's one. Israel, there's one.
We took Maduro from Venezuela. That was
We
an
took.
incredible operation, I have
We
to say.
took. And this is my point. It's your evil nature that you think these things are okay and normal. Only evil nature would make you think
So you think
that's
Maduro
okay
should have
and
stayed in
normal.
power?
This is the problem with whites is your nature is so
I'm asking the
evil and
question.
it's to dominate. And because you want to dominate everyone.
Seems like the Venezuelans are pretty happy.
One second. Because you want to dominate everyone, your evil nature, you think that you get to control others.
And you want to dominate this conversation.
I believe in sovereignty, which is to say self-rule. Venezuelans are Venezuelan. They're not white. They're not American. Let the Venezuelans handle their own affairs. So when you call it, they took the sovereign leader of another country, that's not taking, that's an attack on the country. And it's the kidnapping.
Technically, he wasn't recognized as the leader of that nation.
That's not true.
International law, as you say.
You're literally lying. Don't do that, young man.
They didn't recognize him.
Don't
the
do
Biden
that. You're literally a liar.
Did
Don't
not
do
recognize
that.
him as the leader of that country.
You sound like a fool, and you just
That's
sound very
factual.
dishonest. Don't do that.
You're sounding like a fool right now.
You sound so foolish. I'm being nice to you, even though you sound foolish, but don't take it too far.
I think I've been pretty nice
So
too.
you're in the weaker position. You have to be nice. Everything about you is inferior. You have to be nice. That's why you're a white supremacist, because you can't achieve on your own as an individual.
Look
so
at the
you
white
use the
countries. Everybody
collective.
wants to come.
You use the collective to feel proud of yourself. But you yourself, you have no accomplishments. I already know that.
I feel good about myself.
You have no accomplishments. Where'd you go to university?
That's fine.
Where'd you go to university?
You can
Real
have
quick,
your opinion.
where'd you go to university?
It was called Mercyhurst University.
Mercyhurst University. Did you graduate?
I did.
Congratulations. What'd you take a degree in?
Cybersecurity.
Very nice. That's pretty good. And Mercyhurst University, is this a prestigious school? Just say no. Just say no. Stop wasting time. Just say no.
What, you went to Berkeley
Just
and you're
say
so
no.
educated. And,
Just say no.
Smart guy.
It's consistent. None of you guys are accomplished. You guys are all nobodies. And that's why you need white supremacy to say, I'm
You can feel how
important.
you want.
I'm important because of my race. Okay, so you went to a nobody college. And then what? What else have you accomplished? You went to a no-name college. What else have you accomplished? Just real quick,
I'm
hurry up.
up here debating with you. I've made some money in crypto.
Crypto. Oh my God.
Yeah,
Oh
I'm
my
not a
God.
wealthy, powerful person. I'm not pretending I run the world.
Do you have any
Uh,
other accomplishments? Like, have you gotten awarded for anything? Have you won any contests? Like debate? Nah,
High
that's kind of
school
corny.
basketball
Speech? No.
captain
After
and
how old are
high
you?
school.
How old are
I
you?
am 25 right now.
You're 25. Well, you're a young man. That's
Hmm.
very good. You got your whole life ahead of you. Have you like done anything significant? Like, for example, when I was 25, I was living in South Korea running an international tech business that I founded from scratch.
That's impressive.
It's very impressive.
Congratulations. It is.
So, what do you have to your name at 25?
Well, right now I'm still building myself. I haven't
Right. That's my
solved all
point.
the world's
I
problems, but
never,
I'm
ever,
here.
ever, ever meet a white supremacist who themselves are supreme. You see, I never meet one who's actually successful. It's only the ones who are the white guys who are low skill, low income, low IQ. Those are your white supremacists. And as I will repeat, because
I never said supremacist.
it's so white nationalist, whatever you want to call it.
Yes, that's an
It's
accurate
so
term.
consistent. They need the race to feel like they're somebody. Now, that's why you had called me a black nationalist on your Instagram. The reason
Yeah,
I'm not a black nationalist is because I'm the opposite of your situation. Your situation is where, say you have the white collective, right? So this is the white race and this is the range. You're at the bottom of it. So when you identify with the group, it raises you up. Here's the black collective. I'm toward the top. So if I identify with the group, it would lower me. You see, it's not a lot of benefit. Now, clearly I'm a black man, but I wouldn't say I'm a black nationalist because I'm not a race man. I'm more so about the good peoples of the earth. Who are the good people?
well,
Be
me
them
too.
black,
I
white,
want good
Arab, or
people.
otherwise.
I want good
But
people.
anyways, getting back to the point earlier, I'd asked you a question and it was about countries attacking other countries. And I said the United States attacked Venezuela. The whole world views that as an
Successfully.
attack. No one views that as a good idea.
Yeah, the people of Venezuela do. That you see them
Huh.
celebrating in the streets, how happy they were that
Do
he
you
was
really want to
removed.
get into that conversation? Do you think that you're qualified to have that
Yeah,
conversation?
let's please,
Okay,
please,
let's
let's
get
do
into
it.
it real quick. Why are the people of Venezuela celebrating? So, and mind you realize that there have been more documented people protesting on behalf of Maduro than the opposite. Do you realize that, number one?
When I see people celebrating,
My
I
first
had a.
question. You mentioned protesting,
Are
celebrating. There's actually more
are you
people
gonna let
protesting
me?
on behalf of Maduro.
Are you
Do
gonna
you
let me
realize that?
respond? There, of course, there are people protesting on behalf of
Oh, okay.
Maduro,
Okay,
but
great.
there's also people who were very excited that he was gone.
Sure. Do you know why?
There was a friend of mine in high school
Don't get
who her
anecdotal. It's
family
a total
was
waste of
from
time.
Venezuela.
Anecdotal is a total
They
waste of time.
lost
Wait,
everything
hold
when
on one second. You have
socialism
you.
came.
This is why university is important. No one cares about your friend. You have to use data or
I'm
history.
saying there are plenty
You're
of
no one
people
cares about your
that
friend, buddy.
feel,
Buddy,
well, that's not
this is
nice.
why formal education is
I thought you cared
critical.
about people.
This is
Now you
why
don't care about
formal
people.
education is critical. Your anecdote, it may pull on the heartstrings of people with low IQ, but for people who are educated and intelligent, it's irrelevant
No.
because it doesn't tell the story of the group.
How
It's
smart
a
are these educated
meaningless
people?
narrative. We don't
A
have
lot of
time.
these people with
And the
doctorate
reason that
degrees
you have
screw
to
up our
use an
cities. They don't seem that
anecdote is
smart.
because you don't know anything. You're ignorant.
I
That's
do
why you
know
have to use an
things.
anecdote.
I do know things. I have seen people. I know. Now, thing is, with these studies that you talk about, you don't think studies are manipulated all the
Oh
time. You
my
don't think a
God.
big company gives $50
Oh
million
my
dollars to some
God.
company to run a study that's going to benefit them. This happens all the time.
You
You
guys,
should
it's
know that
every
as
time
a
I talk to
successful businessman.
you guys are always provincial, low-level white guys. You're provincial. Do you know what that
You
word
are
means?
free to have that opinion.
Do you
It
know
is
what?
a
No,
free
it's data.
country. You
It's
can
data
feel
at
how
this
you
point. Do you know
want.
what provincial means?
Provincial. What
Provincial.
is
Do you
that?
know?
That's lower. It's lower. It's like lower class. It's like below. It's a word for below.
You want to look it up real quick?
I'll look it up.
Yeah, it's a good word to know.
Provincial. Provincial. Of or concerning of or concerning the regions outside the capital city of a country, especially when regarded as unsophisticated or narrow-minded.
Yeah, it's like basically suggesting that you're from like the middle of nowhere and you only know what's around you. You've not traveled anywhere. Your
I've traveled to
unrefined
dozens of countries.
dozens.
Dozens.
Which
Yep.
ones? Which ones have you
I've
been to?
been to Indonesia. I've been to
Indonesia, very
Vietnam. I've
nice.
been to Laos,
Wow.
Australia,
Okay.
Mexico,
Uh huh.
Morocco, Tanzania,
Okay. Very good.
uh,
What were you doing in
UK,
Tanzania?
Tanzania, Dar es Salaam, the capital.
I
A
said,
mentor
what
of
were you
mine
doing
in
there?
crypto. A mentor of mine in crypto.
Ah, are
He lived there.
were your parents well off?
My parents,
Yes.
middle class, upper middle class.
Upper middle class. I figured as much. So you're kind of like the son that they had who's like not really met the standards, but you're benefiting off of the fact that you were born into an upper middle class family. Do you realize that?
Here's the. Of course, I benefited from not being born in
Yeah, yeah,
poverty.
no,
Of course,
there's
yeah,
nothing wrong with that. I'm just
yeah.
saying, do you realize that you're such an unimpressive person that you were born at the top, toward the top of the triangle, but you fell down due to your own lack of merit? Do you realize that?
What's with the insults? I mean, like
No, it's not an
this
insult.
is
It's just
kind
an
of a,
observation. Like for example,
and
I'll
you're
give you the
free to make that
parallel. No,
observation. I mean,
I'll give you
you
the
can feel
parallel. If
however
you
you
say
want to feel.
Marquette, and here's just the parallel. It's just the truth sounds bad, but it's actually not an insult. It's the truth just sounds bad because it is what it is,
Well,
but
I
it's not an
haven't
insult.
accomplished a lot.
So
Overall,
here's the
if I'm
parallel.
honest,
If you say Marquette, like what class were your parents? I'll say, well, my parents were for sure lower class. And that sounds bad. It's maybe like an insult, but it's not an insult. It's just the facts. And then you say Marquette, well, you were born in the lowest class and now you're in the upper class. Well, that's not a compliment. That's just the facts.
well,
But I did
congratulations.
that as a
Good.
result of merit and you've fallen down as a result of merit. And so the problem is that we have a situation wherein you're raging against what you want and your expectations for your life because you were in the upper middle class family, but your skill set is a lower class or lower middle class skill set.
End of the day, life will figure out where I go.
Do
Maybe
you
I'll be
get
a
my
winner.
point though?
Maybe I'll be a
Do you get
loser.
my point though?
I hear what you're saying. Yeah.
Okay, fair
Maybe
enough.
I'll be a winner. Maybe I'll be a loser. We'll find out. That's how
You
time
know, you got a
goes.
hell of time. I'm
And
rooting for you personally. But
I
anyways, do
appreciate
you
it.
know
Thank
why
you.
the people of Venezuela, some of them were happy about their president being kidnapped? Do you know why?
Because he was a dictator who tortured people, who oppressed people,
He
and
tortured
they
and
were
oppressed
glad to
people?
see him go. They lost their wealth, they lost their family. Venezuela had the third highest GDP in the world in the 1980s, and then when
Is GDP
socialism
the
came,
most
it destroyed
important
that country.
measure?
Well, per
GDP is the most
capita, a
important?
lot of
Yeah,
people. I
per
think you could ask
capita.
the average
Ah, per capita. There
Venezuelan.
you go. Be smarter.
They were doing way better off than
Well,
before
why did their
socialism
economy start
came.
to suffer?
They started some. Well, a lot of people, and this is what's starting to happen in America. The American dream is less achievable than it used to be because of billionaires selling out and mass
No, we're talking about
migration.
Venezuela. Focus,
Well,
focus. We're talking
I
about
am,
Venezuela. Focus,
and
focus,
this is the point.
focus, focus.
The system in Venezuela got
Uh-huh.
worse. The
Uh-huh.
people, things got more expensive. Times got
But
tougher. They
why
didn't
though?
feel the same
Why?
prosperity.
Why?
Well, their oil industry started to fail. They weren't pumping enough oil. The Aramco Belt has, I think, 230 billion of, I mean, barrels of oil there. I mean, they have the most natural resources out of any country on earth,
Huh,
and
curious.
they're poor. And
That's
socialism
very
destroyed
interesting.
that country. And I am
That's
glad that
socialism
President
destroyed the
Donald
country.
Trump
Let me ask you a
saved the
question. Let me
people of
ask you a
Venezuela.
question. Let me ask you a question. Because you're a funny guy. I like that. Why did Venezuela become socialist if capitalism and I'm pro-capitalist, mind you, just for the record, I'm pro-capitalist. I've been good at capitalism, unlike some folks. If Venezuela was doing well, why did socialism come into play in Venezuela?
Well, I'll tell you. And this is what we see in many countries. If we look
Just
at
talk about
Cuba,
Venezuela. Just come on, just talk about Venezuela.
I have to give the whole context so
No, it's
everybody
because
can
you're
catch
without
my drift.
knowledge. Can you stop tap dancing and just give me your
I'm
answer?
very without. I have a decent amount of knowledge here. When we
No,
look
you
at
don't.
Cuba, okay, well that's your opinion, right? And you're entitled to it. And people can make up their own
Yeah, go
minds
ahead.
what
Tell
they
me
think
about
about me.
Venezuela. Why did they start with socialism? Because if everything was all well.
Because when people see prosperity and they don't see themselves prospering, that turns into an anger, that turns into a rage. And then somebody says, I'm going to give out free stuff. I'm going to make your life better. And people hear this and they vote for it. But the problem is, all the people with skills leave the country. The regulations clamp down on their industry, making growth, making prosperity impossible. Because with socialism, you run out of other people's money. And that's what happened in Venezuela. People saw prosperity, but they didn't see themselves sharing in that prosperity. And leaders came on, Chavez in 1999, I believe, came on, said we're going to give out free refrigerators, free groceries, free TVs, promised all this stuff. And then he eventually ran out of other people's money and the country went in the shitter even farther.
Okay, now here's the facts, because you just made up stuff. Do you realize that the prosperity you were talking about that predated Chavez didn't actually exist? Did you know that?
It did. The GDP per capita was higher.
Really? Here's let me just
The
expose
lower
you
classes
just real
were
quick. Let me
suffering.
expose
I'm
you
not
really
saying
quick.
they weren't.
Just real quick, let me expose you. Who was the leader before Hugo Chavez?
I don't know who was in charge before Chavez.
Okay. We're dealing with jokesters here. So you're telling me that you understand Venezuela.
Jokesters, you're advocating for a dictator.
No, one second, young man.
Power.
1 second, young man. 1 second. We're dealing with the jokester here, and keep your hands up so we know you're not Googling anything. We're dealing with
Hands
a
up, don't
jokester who
shoot.
purports to understand Venezuela, their economy, their politics, and their history, yet you can't even name the leader before Hugo Chavez. You think you have
Am I a
knowledge?
Venezuelan history expert? Did I ever?
You're the
claim
one who
be a
wanted to talk about
history
Venezuela. And
expert?
before we start talking about it, I asked you, I said, are you sure you want to talk about that?
And I
Because
said,
I don't think
sure.
you know much.
And I
That's
said,
right.
sure.
And you're,
and
again, exposing that you don't know.
You want to defend Maduro staying in power. That's your
No,
that's
sir.
your
You're a liar.
perspective.
What I said earlier is that I want to defend sovereignty, the concept of sovereignty and self-government. Do you know what sovereignty is?
Yes.
What is sovereignty?
Sovereignty is the right to make your own decisions. You are sovereign. You are able to
Interesting.
make your choices.
Aha. Now, can you explain to me why is it that if we respect sovereignty, it will drive greater levels of world peace and less war? Can you explain to us?
When there is a country that is not prospering its people, in
No,
America
sir.
with its
I asked
great
you,
power,
can you explain why respecting sovereignty will reduce wars? That's what I asked you, young man.
sovereignty. Well, there hasn't been a war in Venezuela, by the way. But if you want me to address that particular point, is
Yeah,
Venezuela?
I'd be thankful if
fired
you'd
missiles
actually.
at the
I'd be
United
thankful
States?
if you'd listen to the question and actually answer the question. Yes,
Because
I'd be thankful for that.
you're trying to.
I'd be thankful if you just listen to the question and
I've
answer the
done debate
question.
before. I've done debate before. I know what you're doing. You're trying to
You
get
are
my
an
answer
inferior
where it's only one
intellect
answer that
who's
supports
completely
your values.
devoid of knowledge, and you're trying your best to avoid making
You
the
are free
obvious
to have
point.
any opinion you like.
So
That
I'm
is
going to
your
ask
right.
you again,
That is
young
your
man.
prerogative. See,
I'm
it's
going
a
to
big
ask you
word,
again.
prerogative, right?
Can you explain why why countries respecting sovereignty will lead to greater world peace and fewer wars?
Sovereignty, when the country is taking care of its people, will lead to will lead to less wars. When we look at Venezuela, Maduro was not taking care of his people. He was a brutal dictator. He was removed.
Boy.
That's
You make
great.
up lies. You said he was torturing his own people. Would you explain what was
He
tell me more
literally
about
had
that.
prisons and would torture dissidents. They had prisons in that
Like
country.
can you like tell me what you're referring to? Like I'll
There-
give you an
there-
example.
there
Let me
was-
tell you
there
what
were
I mean.
American
No, let me tell
citizens
you what
who
I
were
mean.
tortured by
Real quick, let me tell you what I mean. I'm gonna give you a
Venezuelan
great
operatives and police
example. I'm gonna give you an example because I know you're struggling here. If you say Marquette, does America
fine
hold on
right now.
one second, young man. If you say Marquette, does America ever torture people? I would say America, like the American citizens, well, generally no, but the American government, yeah, there's a long history of it. And you say, Marquette, well, give me an example so we don't think you're making up things and you're
course
lying
they do.
about your knowledge.
Of course they do.
Don't interrupt, young man. And then I would say, well, Guantanamo Bay is the best example. Abu Ghraib, there's so many records, and mostly it's American journalists and even whistleblowers who have pointed this out. So there's just no doubt that the United States government has tortured people. Guantanamo Bay
course
is
they
a
have.
shining example of that.
course they
Now,
have.
I'm going to ask you, give me an example of the Venezuelan government torturing people in a systematic and consistent way like Guantanamo Bay, for
Do
example.
you really not understand how the world works?
Young man,
Every
please stop
single
running,
nation,
stop running,
every
stop running.
single
Just give me an
nation.
example. Just give me an
Running
example.
a country's a dirty business.
Just give me an example. Stop running.
I'm
You said
giving you an
Venezuela
example.
tortures. Give me an example.
There was American citizens who were in prison in Venezuela that were released under the Trump administrations who made accusations of torture by their Venezuelan captors. That's a fact. Now, if you want to go,
What is this torture program called? Like what was the event called? Like what are you talking? Like I gave you Guantanamo. It's a specific, well-documented
you're talking about
situation. Like
Guantanamo
can you?
torturing people?
Because you said they tortured their own
describing the
people.
place.
Hold on one second, young man. You said Venezuela tortured their
Are
own
you saying
people.
they don't?
So
Are you
tell
saying
me,
they don't? Are
young
you saying
man,
they don't?
you have the burden of proof. Stop playing games. You
Are you
said
saying they
Venezuela
don't?
tortured. Hold on one second. I want everyone to notice how slimy this guy is. First, he says that he's a dictator and he's torturing his own people. And then I said, okay, great. Well, who
Would
did he
you like to
torture?
live
What was the
there?
program
Would you
called?
like to
Hold
live
on
there?
one second. Please stop it.
No.
He said,
The
well,
answer's
who
no.
was he
You wouldn't.
torturing? You know, what were there, you know, like there are Americans being tortured. I said, you said he tortured his own people, dude. So
There
tell
are
me,
credible
what was the name of the
accusations
program?
people who were tortured. There were credible accusations of people who were tortured.
Dude, who was
what,
like? Tell me,
what
who was
you're
tortured?
trying to
You
do,
have no examples.
you're
You're
trying
literally
to
making
defend
up
this
stuff.
place where you would never live.
Young man,
You would
you're
never live
literally.
there. And
Hold
here
on one
you are
second.
screaming at me.
You're making up lies. You have to stop doing that. You
So
got to
are
stop
you.
lying.
You're trying to
I just
make,
no. Hold on one
you're
second,
trying
young
to
man.
make an,
Just stop talking. Just stop it. I gave you an example. I said, if you ask me, does the American government torture? I said, Guantanamo Bay is a well-documented instance of torture. I said, you stated that the Venezuelan government has tortured the Venezuelan people. You named dissidents.
Some,
and I
not
said,
everyone.
don't interrupt. And then I said, give me an example, name the program or name the dissidents that were tortured. I'm going to give you time right now to name the program of torture or the specific dissidents in Venezuela who were tortured. I yield the floor.
Can you hear me now?
Come on, dude.
There was a lag. The point is, I understand what you're saying. You're trying to say, point out the specific program where they tortured
Or
people.
just name the
Okay.
dissidents who were tortured.
You want to say there were.
You said there were dissidents. Just name the dissidents.
American citizens.
You said
who
Venezuelan
made allegations
dissidents.
of torture to the United States.
Young man,
government.
please be
And you're
honest.
trying to
You said
advocate-
you said Venezuelan
You're
dissidents.
advocating for Maduro, and it
Young man,
shows, it
you're
shows
not
your
an honest
perspective.
person. You said Venezuelan
either.
dissidents. Did you say
not
Venezuelan
either.
dissidents?
You're
Yes,
not
you
an honest
did.
person either.
Now
There
name
are
the
Venezuelan
Venezuelan dissidents. Name one. Just one. Just name one Venezuelan
There are
dissident.
people in Venezuela.
God,
That's how
you're
the
a
world
liar,
works.
dude.
Okay, outside of America, like I know you hate America so much, but let's be honest.
Listen,
about
I'm going to
what
mute
really
you
goes
real
on in
quick
the
just so
world.
everyone can hear my question. I'm going to mute you because you keep talking over me. So I'm
Oh,
letting
be
everyone
quiet.
know I'm intentionally muting you. This young man said that Venezuela tortures their dissidents, which would be Venezuelan citizens. I said, okay, you're lying. Name just one Venezuelan dissident that Venezuela has tortured, just to prove your case. Just one, or name a program of torture. I'm going to open up the floor for him to not say anything else other than the name of one Venezuelan dissident or one program of torture. Nothing else. I yield the floor.
You're a very smart person. You know how to kind of guide the conversation in your direction. You have to follow my.
Name
little
one
rules, and
Venezuelan
I'm not
dissident that
gonna
was
follow
tortured.
this. Would you like to live in Venezuela?
Name one Venezuelan dissident
Would
that
you
was
like
tortured.
to live in Venezuela? Do you
That's
think
a red
Maduro
herring. You're
was a
trying to
good
distract.
leader?
Name one
Do you think
Venezuelan
Maduro was a
dissident
good
that was
leader?
tortured.
Would you
Would you
like to
admit
live in
that you were
Venezuela?
making up things? Would you admit that you were making up
We can give you a free
things?
flight to Venezuela.
Would you
if
admit
like,
that you
and
were
can go live
just
there.
repeating things that you heard other people say?
Would you like to live in Venezuela?
Would you
Do you
admit
think
that you
Maduro's
were
a
just
good leader?
repeating things that you heard other people say?
Do you think Maduro's a good leader?
Would you admit that you were just repeating what you heard other people say? It's okay. We do it all the
Would
time.
you
It's human.
admit you're trying to defend a
Would you
dictator
admit
who
that you were
brutalized
just
his
repeating
people?
things that other people have said?
Would
and
you
you did
admit you
not
don't
know?
want prosperity for the people of Venezuela? Would you admit that?
You are a great example of the dishonesty of the white
You're pretty
nationalists and
dishonest
the
too.
white
You're very
supremacists.
dishonest too.
You just
You haven't
made
been
up a
very
lie.
polite to
When
me
you
either.
got called out on the lie, you won't admit to
You haven't
lying.
answered.
You just
Would
want
you
to
like
talk
to live
about
in
something
Venezuela?
else.
Was
You just
Maduro
want
a
to talk
great
about
leader?
something else.
Would you like to live in Venezuela?
You get called out on the lie. Now you want to change the conversation.
Do you want to live in Venezuela?
You got called
Under
out on the
Maduro.
lie. Now you want to go on and talk about something else.
And this is why
Folks who are
people
watching,
need
use your
to use
use the
common
information
sense.
below to send in your comments, questions, tithes, and tuition. We're going to start winding down because he refuses to justify anything he's saying. He's just making up things using common talking points. He's not even thinking. He's just repeating
If
what
I'm
he
an
heard other
idiot, go
people
live
say.
in Venezuela. They go live under Maduro.
Would you be kind enough just to justify what you're saying?
Such a
Name
great
one
point.
Venezuelan dissident. You said that they were being tortured. Just name one as an example.
There were American citizens who were released under the Trump administration who made claims of
You
torture. There
said
are Venezuelans
Venezuelan
in Venezuela
dissidents.
who
You
have
said
made
Venezuelan
claims of torture.
dissidents, young man.
And you're expecting
You
me to
said
know
Venezuelan
every single
dissidents.
person's name.
No,
And
not
this
every
is the
single
thing.
person. Just
this
one.
This is why
Just
you
one.
educated
Just
people
one.
really
Just
have destroyed
one.
the country and why people don't trust you.
And you see, this is what I'm talking about. It's these low IQ liars. It's extraordinary.
You've been lying
It's
yourself
it's
here
it's
too.
extraordinary. He said Venezuelan dissidents. Now he won't defend it.
Go
Just
live
admit
there.
you
It's a great
lied.
place.
Just
Go
admit you
live there.
lied.
Go live there.
Young man, did you say Venezuelan dissidents? We all heard you. So now just tell us the name of one.
Unk, look here, Unk. Okay.
Just name one.
The thing is, it's not my job to name every single slave.
No one asked you to do any of that. You got to stop lying, young man. You got to just say you don't know when you don't know. You got to say you don't know when you don't know. That's all.
You got to stop being deceptive.
It's okay. You don't know. Just say you don't know, man. Stop making up stuff. Stop making up stuff, man. You don't do any research. You just repeat what you heard other people say. And that's really sad. You just repeat what you heard other people say.
Can I speak?
Do you realize every time you've said something, I said, hey, what scholar, what book, what research study, name one person, give a piece of evidence. You learned everything you know from TikTok.
Do I need to name someone who shot someone in Chicago?
Everything you know is from TikTok. Everything you know is from TikTok. You've never even read a book.
Our shootings.
You've never read a book.
Our shootings happening in Baltimore.
You literally never read a whole book.
To know that?
I don't even believe you have a bachelor's.
I've read a whole book.
I don't think you've read a book. What book are you currently reading? What book are you currently reading? What book are you currently reading? What book are you currently reading?
48 Laws
What book are you currently reading?
Robert Greene. 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene.
Pop culture books. You're reading a pop culture book. This is extraordinary. It's a pop culture book, but you're the leader.
What are you angry at me for?
This guy's reading a pop culture book, but he's supposed to lead something. Extraordinary.
Do I have to? Can you just answer this one question? You don't have to answer it. Do I have to be able to name one person who committed a shooting in Baltimore to say that there's shootings going on in Baltimore?
That's cute, man. Anyways, give me one moment to acknowledge the folks in the audience who may have questions. Just give me one moment.
Couldn't answer the question.
It's just silly. You sound stupid. That's why. Shout out to Albatar. He came in via Stripe, and he's supporting the work in a real way. We appreciate you. May I also acknowledge Caleb supporting the work using the Stripe link in the description of the video. May I also acknowledge Gary came in supporting via the Stripe link. Thank you to those who support these meaningful exposés. Shout out to Andre who writes another lamb for slaughter. Peace of the Saints Commander came in via Venmo. Appreciate you. May I also acknowledge Constantine supporting the work via Venmo. Shout out via PayPal. Wayne came through supporting. He writes, Peace of the Saints Tuition. This guy is a fool. I also acknowledge Shakir writes, I'm tired of this socialism narrative destroyed Venezuela. Venezuela was a petro state since 1920 and bad management of oil gains destroyed the nation. Yes, indeed. Extraordinary. And by the way, folks, feel free to send in your comments, questions, ties, tuition below. Anyways, so you said the biggest problem of the white man in America is what exactly?
Well, I said white liberals. They're the biggest problem of all.
So what's the plan?
The evil, deceitful white liberals.
Oh, so there's some good white liberals.
They're disillusioned. They're not bad, but they're disillusioned.
Got you. And do you believe in capitalism?
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah.
Okay. So capitalism has hierarchy. We can agree on that, right?
Of course. Yes. Yes.
Okay. So why do you have a problem with there being different levels of hierarchy within the white collective in terms of how they're performing in the capitalist system?
I never said I did. There's not everyone's going to be at the top. It's either we have hierarchy or everyone's going to be at the bottom.
Okay. So what's wrong with the current system? And I don't like the current system, but I'm saying in your perspective, like what's the issue in the current system?
The biggest issue with the current system is white elite billionaires who have lobbied politicians to lower their corporate tax rate and to ship jobs overseas and advocate for low tariffs that displace.
Can we take it piece by piece real quick?
In America.
Do you mind if we take it piece by piece?
Sure.
Because that's quite a bit. Okay. So you said billionaires who have lobbied for lower taxes. I just want to confirm you are a capitalist, right?
I am a capitalist, and I understand there's different classes, but I want the working class people of our country to be able to live a high quality of life.
A high quality of life. Okay.
Yes.
So earlier you were saying, well, why don't you go live in Venezuela? Well, I think you are probably suggesting that America is a good place, right? Good place to be.
I'm here. I'd
Yeah, there
say
you
so.
go. So what makes you think that the whites who are in America are not already living a high quality of life, unless maybe they'd go live in Venezuela if they weren't?
Well, I mean, I can speak to people's experiences that I know. Again, I know you don't
Okay.
like the experiences thing, but
Yeah.
there's a lot of,
You don't know what the data is?
well, this is the thing. Data is fudged all the time, but all I know is
And your
what I
stories are
know.
100% true?
I think you'd find there's a lot of people that share the same position.
Go ahead.
There's a
Go
lot
ahead.
of there's a lot of young white men who get a college degree, who
Uh-huh.
apply for 200 jobs and are not able to get one because one, it's been replaced by an H-1B visa Indian or Chinese person who's getting that
Okay.
tech job,
Okay.
or a lower wage job like in fast food or in tree trimming or in agriculture has been taken by a migrant who works for $5 to $10 an hour. Where if those wages were $20 an hour, working class white people would have an opportunity to succeed in this country.
Do you realize that you're actually not a capitalist? You're really a socialist. Are you aware of that?
I am I would say a social capitalist, if that's the perfect term.
And I hate to come at you like that, but nigga, what? You said you're a social
I thought
capitalist?
no slurs. I thought no
What?
slurs. Come on, man.
Bro, you're a social capitalist? What is that? What
I
is that,
want
bro?
to see the people of the country do well because I have learned from history. You look at Cuba, you look at Iran.
Oh God.
When there's the elites sharing the prosperity and other people feel like they don't have any of it, that's when you have revolution and when you get communism and it gets 1,000 times worse. The Shah of Iran had a bunch of prosperity in the late 70s. Then the Ayatollah came in, there was a coup, everybody's life got worse. Same thing with Cuba. Batista had Cuba, the elites had the prosperities, the American mafia, Meyer Lansky, a lot of the Jewish mafia, I doesn't say the word. They had a lot of control over Havana. The casinos were making money. The elites lived well. The poor people had nothing. Castro came in, got
Can I
worse for
point out one
everybody.
interesting thing about both of those instances that you're talking
Sure.
about? And it again only highlights the fact that you're without knowledge. So I talked to you earlier about sovereignty and how important sovereignty is, which is the idea of European countries mostly, or white countries, if you like, not meddling in the affairs of other countries. You just use the example of Cuba and you use the example of Iran. In Cuba, who was the dictator at that time that you're referencing?
Feliciago Batista, I believe that's the
That's
pronunciation.
wrong. It's Fulgencio Batista, but that's fine.
Okay, same thing.
You did much better. And in Iran, who was the leader?
Shah Reza, the pronunciation of the
Shah Reza Pahlavi. Okay, very
Pahlavi.
good.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yep, pretty good. In both of those cases, do you realize that both of those were American puppets?
They were aligned with the United States.
Yes, yes, they were American puppets. And both
Should
of those
powerful nations
cases,
not put their
one
interests
second,
first?
in both of those cases, American capital, multinational corporations were operating in both of those markets and controlling politics there. That's why I talk about sovereignty. And in both of those cases, you saw revolution. The revolution was not due to poverty because the Shah of Iran was modernizing Iran and Cuba was doing pretty darn well. So actually wasn't poverty and nor was it
Well, there's a multiple.
inequality.
Yeah, there's multiple factors
It
to it.
was also in main part, especially if you look at the Iranian case, it was a cultural mismatch because the American imperialists tried to map Western culture and values onto a Shia Islamic country. And that didn't work. And their revolution was led by whom in Iran?
Who led by who?
Yeah, the revolution in Iran against the Shah
It
was
was
led by whom?
well, initially they had different factions, but they aligned under Khomeini.
Ayatollah Khomeini, right, which was like an
Yes.
80-year-old cleric, right?
Well, there was a guy before him who was the Ayatollah. Then he died, I believe, in '91, and then Khomeini took power.
Okay.
I could be mistaken with that, but
Yeah,
that's what
maybe.
I'm
It's
pretty sure
okay.
it
It's
was.
okay. It looks like the broader story we're aligned with. So that revolution wasn't due to poverty, wasn't due to inequality. It was due to the United States putting a puppet in place and everyone knew it was a puppet and it was a cultural mismatch. That's
That's a
why the
factor.
leader who waged that revolution, which was largely a cultural revolution, that was the driving force, religion and culture, he was a cleric, a very religious cleric. So when you respect sovereignty, you're less likely to have international war. And when you're respecting sovereignty, you won't have puppets. So you're less likely to have those kind of authentic revolutions. And I want you to understand the difference between an inauthentic revolution and an authentic one. Authentic revolutions happen from within, the real citizens of that country. The Shah was overthrown in a popular revolution. The Fulgencio Batista in Cuba was overthrown by what two epic figures in history?
That was Fidel and Raul Castro, Che Guevara,
Sure.
a couple other people.
Now we know
aware
that
of.
Che was from what country?
But who?
We know that Che was from what country?
The American Mafia. That was the United States.
No. Che Guevara. Che Guevara de la Serna was from what country?
I know it's like it's Central America. It's one of I don't know.
He's from Argentina. Okay.
Really? I thought he was from Central
Yeah.
America.
Che was from Argentina, but Raul and Fidel were from Cuba. So it was an authentic revolution that occurred from Cubans. And then you had this random dude who was studying to be a physician named Che, who said, yeah, that makes sense. Let me sign on to that. And it was essentially against the imperialist, the outsiders dominating there.
Partially.
No. And the fact of the matter is, there's so many details that are missing in your knowledge. I find it strange that you would even try to contradict me.
I mean, I went through the broad stroke. There's multiple factors.
Well, you can only go through on a broad stroke because you got your knowledge from a documentary on YouTube.
I can go deeper.
You've never read La Guerra de las Guerrillas? You've never read anything.
No. But I can go deeper if you'd like.
But you can't go deeper. That's my point.
I can. I absolutely can.
Yeah. So anyways, my point in summary, though, is sovereignty is important. When you don't respect sovereignty, eventually it's going to lead to an authentic popular revolution.
May I just say one point to that?
I yield the floor. You're good.
I think you're a smart individual, and I think you understand there is nothing on this earth that happens that is purely organic. There is always outside forces acting on a group on every country. That is how world history has been guided. There is nothing that is an independent people-led revolution. Every single thing that happens is allowed, and external forces make that thing happen, where they boil the pot, where that is the only action those people can take. So when we look at America, I believe America should look at things in their best interest. They should try to make sure countries are aligned with them. They should get the best deals they can, but also as a smart way and as a humane way to make the people not rebel against you. Give them housing, food, shelter, opportunities. Give them opportunities.
Give them?
Well, the jobs so they can get them. If people aren't impoverished, if people they might not like America, but if America aligned forces are providing a higher quality of life, they aren't going to go in the streets with pitchforks and machine guns and take over your country.
Let's talk a bit about capitalism, because I'm actually a real capitalist, a real one. You are a socialist. And
how would you define real capitalism?
Real quick. That's funny. Very funny. So you're a socialist, and that's okay. A lot of young people are very socialist.
I'm a social capitalist.
There's no such thing. You just made that term.
Well, I made it up. It's my movement.
You made that. But here's the thing.
Movement.
You think you're coming up with new ideas, but it's just that because you've not read political theory or economic theory, you don't know the correct term for what you're describing. You're not describing capitalism. You're describing a large social welfare state, which is essentially socialism. That's what you're describing. You just don't know it because you're not very well schooled, and that's why education is important.
A Norwegian model where there's capitalism, but there's a social safety net. But
I want you deported, and I want you deported for that because you're not a real American. There's no way a real American patriot would ever try to model what we do after the filthy Europeans. The Europeans are our inferior. We rebuilt them after the Marshall Plan. We do not follow Europeans. They have an inferior system, and you need to be deported because you're one of the lazy Americans that are dragging us down. The reason you want a social welfare system is because you can't hack it. You cannot hack it in a real capitalist system. The reason you hate capitalism is because it's a system of real competition. And you yourself said you can't compete with Indians because you don't know how to apparently get in school, read the books, learn, and perform and have good skills and get gainful employment. That's the issue. We don't import. Let me tell you something. I used to work for, real quick. No one needs to listen to you. I used to work for the mayor of Baltimore. And in the Baltimore area, wait, who am I?
Yeah, who are you? You're a human being.
Am I on your platform or are you on my platform? Am I on your platform or are you on my platform?
I'm on yours.
Do I follow you or do you follow me on Instagram?
whole lot of people are going to start following me real soon. But I
I hear you. I hear you. So
follow
this is
you.
how
But I
unrealistic
am
this
not
kid
ashamed
is.
to say you're above me.
Who are you? Come on, like let's be realistic, man. But anyways, the point is this. Instead of, and this is my problem with my white nationalist brothers and my white supremacist brothers. No, really, because I believe in the American white man, and I live in the deep South, mind you. I don't know. Are you in the? Do you mind saying what state you're in?
Florida,
Those are
West
not
Palm.
those are not the real good whites.
That's not.
Those
It's New Yorkers. Yeah,
yeah,
it's
low
not really
quality whites
South.
there. You know, I'm with the real whites. You heard me? Like I'm in southern Georgia. These are the real whites here. And what I like about the real whites, though they may be missing teeth, they have great skills. You see, they show up and
They
they can
do.
actually do
They do.
things. They have
They do.
great skills. They're tradesmen. And many of them are actually intelligent as well. It's just that they
They're
chose
the
to go into
heroes of our
trades.
country. They're the heroes
Now,
of our
here's the
country.
challenge, though. You have the dumb whites, which are in Florida. Example A. I'm
You can
messing
just
with
say
you.
me. Yeah, you
I'm
can say
messing
me
with
if
you.
you want.
We got the dumb whites, which are basically most everywhere else. And the problem, instead of saying, hey, Marquette, instead of getting scared of competition from India, what if we didn't believe in make America great again? What if we believed in make Americans great again? And we didn't have to make it racist. We said all of Americans. Now, this is mostly going to benefit whites because they're 60% of the country. And we hyper focus on excellence in education, in
Yeah,
mathematics, in all of the basics that are
agreed.
necessary to get the high paying jobs. When I worked in government in the MVA area, excuse me, in the DMV area, we had 5 jobs for every one person seeking a job. The problem was that the people did not have the skill set to engage in jobs of the future or in today's economy. So that's actually a gap on the part of the worker. They have not kept pace by educating themselves.
Well, the system didn't put the resources in as
Not
well.
the system. This guy's like a liberal white woman. It's the system. You're like a black person like saying everything is racist. Is the white man getting you down too? God damn. Bros are the white man getting him down. That's crazy.
The white
The
liberal
system, my
elites to an
boy?
extent, yeah,
Hold on.
they've kind of destroyed the
Wait, hold
country.
on,
Yeah.
my boy. You said the system? Did
I
you just say the
said
system?
systems exist.
Man, you lost your white card right there. You lost your white card. And this
I
is my
lost my
point.
white card. Is it
This
gone now?
this whole thing with the system
Are
and the
you the
man,
leader of the white
that
supremacy
I am
movement?
the
And
leader
you
of
have
the white
taken away my
supremacists.
card.
Yes. I'm taking away your card. Low key, you
It's,
never had one because I'm the one that gives them out, but I'm taking it away,
so
whatever
it's
fake one you
revoked.
had.
So it's revoked.
No, but here's the thing, seriously. If you would have went back in time, the claim of the whites is that the blacks are always complaining about racism, complaining about discrimination, complaining about the system, complaining about the man.
And
We
at
know
the
that the
time,
whites
yeah, there was
have
genuine
fallen.
complaints.
I hear, I hear you. We know the whites have fallen
Duh.
really badly because now you guys are single moms. You're complaining about the system. You're complaining about the man. You're complaining about all this stuff.
I
But
identify as a man, by the way, so I
I
can't
said
be a
the
single
man,
mom.
but the question is like, when are you guys gonna pull yourself up by the bootstraps like me? When are you guys gonna do that?
I have never been against it. I have never been against pulling people up by the bootstraps. But what I have said from a systemic perspective, the people, if they live better lives and there's more opportunities for them to live better lives, overall, the country will be less violent. It'll be more prosperous and it'll be a better place for successful people like you to live in. Because I'm pretty sure, as a successful black man like yourself, you don't live in a majority black neighborhood.
Please
You
don't call
don't
me
live in
black, sir.
Baltimore. You
Please
don't
don't
live
call
in
me
O
black.
Block.
Actually, I used to live in Baltimore when I was in graduate school. But can we do two
But now
things if
you
you don't
don't.
mind? Nah, of course not. Can we
Yeah.
do two things real quick? Let's do two things. I want to one acknowledge some of the folks who might have comments, questions, and then number two, I'm going to shut down the two YouTube streams. We're going to be on Twitch, and in the meantime, if you want to share your name, because I haven't been actually using your name, just share your name and your IG information. Make sure that you can achieve some of your blue chip goals as we go through. So feel
Appreciate it.
free to do that now.
Yeah, my IG is at Cloysius, KLOYSIUS_. You can follow me on Twitter at the same handle. I am open for debate. I'm not someone who shies away from conversation, and I say some controversial things, but I think truth speaking is very important, and I'm very thankful to Marquette because we have had a conversation for over an hour and a half, and at times slightly a bit hostile, but I
Oh,
think overall it
absolutely,
was
absolutely.
productive.
Yeah, I think you respect the game that we're in. Folks, this is the Twitch handle right here, twitch.tv/Marquett Devon. We're going to continue there. The YouTube streams are about to be cut right now. So I advise you to start transitioning over to twitch.tv. And because he does actually have some interesting and meaningful points we do need to discuss. I think there are actually points of intersection. So we will engage that. But first, let me acknowledge some of the folks supporting the work. Shout out to Tam, came in supporting the work using the Stripe link in the description. Also, may also acknowledge Cameron. Cameron is very consistent, came in supporting via Stripe. We appreciate you. And shout out to the folks who actually do support the work. May I also acknowledge Jay, came in via Venmo. He writes, showing support, peace of saints. Jay is very consistent. I also acknowledge Das. He writes, got to ask this to a super player because I'm trying to work my way up the international level. Based on what you know, how many consistent broads should I aim to have in my stable? You know, it really depends on what you can manage. To be honest with you, like you got to reach a level that's comfortable for you. What should I call you?
Me?
Yes.
You can call
Cloisius?
me James. Cloisius is Instagram.
Okay,
Yeah.
Jane. Okay. Cloisius is his Instagram. We'll make sure you guys can get access to that because it might be a little hard to spell. You mind if I call you James?
Yeah. Of course.
Okay. James, how many chicks you got right now? How many you dealing with?
Right at this moment,
Yes, sir.
0.
Okay, fair enough. I get like that. Anyway, shout out to Gabriel. He writes, I hope you're doing well, Saint. I really enjoy listening to you dissecting flawed logic and revealing weakness and reasoning. Continue cooking, Saint. Peace of Saints. Oh, absolutely. It's my pleasure. And you know, James, one of the things I like about you is that you are an ambitious young man. And I think that you'll make progress. I think you're mostly reasonable. I just hate to see young guys like you fall to hatred. Because you can be so much. And frankly, you're going to be happier without the hatred. Anyways, Daz writes, peace of saints, big homie. What is a new lesson that you have learned related to finances recently? You know what? I don't know if there's much new under the sun, to be honest with you. I think the key is to, I'll give you an old lesson that I learned when I was a child, which is save money. Save money. You should always have a savings rate. And that has done me really well. This Trump economy has been very hard for real businessmen. If you're a proper international businessman, you've suffered greatly. However, if you're, say, like a tradesman, you're doing really well. There's a white gentleman who came and did some work for me yesterday. And I said, hey, I need you to come back and do X, Y, and Z. He was like, I can't come for 2 months. I was like, well, why is that? He's like, man, I'm booked out. And it's because largely the Latino population has exited stage left. Shout out to Das. He writes, I almost forgot to say you were... what are some quick spots you would stop by to shoot some quick shots on a 3 a day? I think the key with your 3 a day is to align it to your actual life and your true joys. And so try to meet women in the midst of your striving, whatever is important to you. Mr. Robinson writes, appreciate the work. Oh, absolutely. It's my pleasure. And this, as it turns out, is a really important conversation because the truth is, if the white man in America continues to flounder, the country is going to die. And it's not because whites are great. It's because whites are the majority. That's what it is, because whites are the majority. And more importantly, the people who are coming in mass are not the upper classes of other countries. And that was largely due to poor immigration policy. I yield the floor for you.
Yes, well, appreciate the conversation. You guys follow me on social media at Cloisius, Kloysius. And just one quick question: is this going to be on YouTube so I can clip up and stuff? Or
Yeah, absolutely.
okay.
What I'm doing right now is it is on YouTube, but I'm about to shut this one. I'm about to shut the YouTube stream down. I'm going to keep streaming. I'd be happy to continue the conversation if you can. If you don't want to, I totally understand. But I'm going to continue it on Twitch. And so what I'm going to do is once we finish on Twitch, I'm going to pull the Twitch stream and then I'm going to repost that one.
Okay. Yeah. Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whenever. Yeah. I just kind of want to see like YouTube so I can get a couple clips out of it for sure.
Absolutely. It'll go back up on YouTube and I'll give you that as well. All I ask is that you don't post the whole thing like uninterrupted.
Yeah. No, of course.
Just to
Yeah.
avoid copyright strikes for both of us.
It'll be like short little clips. Yeah.
No, you can use it however you please. No problem at all. You're more than welcome to. And I'll make sure that we get the information to you. You have my DM and we'll make sure we make it easy for you to download and utilize as you
Perfect.
like. But anyways, And shout out to Brian supporting the work, came in using the Stripe link in a strong way. Okay, now, so with the current state of the white man, you believe that the actual solution is to stop immigration as opposed to reskilling the white man.
Well, I think it's a combination of both. I think we do have to put the resources in to reskill the white man. It used to be in the 1960s and 70s, you could graduate high school and you could have a certification as a plumber, you could have a certification as an electrician. Now it's not available. So I think making these opportunities more accessible and easier for people to get these quality jobs is important, but I also think it's important to control the flow of immigration into the country. To make sure those opportunities stay for the American people, which are predominantly white, but even non-white Americans, people that are Black, people that are Hispanic, who are here as citizens, they deserve to have those opportunities as well.
Okay. I did, and I'm gonna pull up your IG real quick so folks can
Mm-hmm.
see what it is. But there was one particular reaction you did to my content. So like, let's take a look at that, and then
Sure.
we can we'll move from there.
I
So
got to
just,
run to something at 5, but we can, yeah, tell us whatever.
yeah, sure, absolutely. Give me one sec here. Just pull this up. Okay, can you see that?
Me?
Oh,
No,
okay,
I
let me
can't. Yeah.
enlarge this. Okay, there you go. All right, here we go. All right, and it looks like he's doing well. Has 47,000 followers. Shout out to the young man. And okay, so here we are. And just confirm that you can hear the audio once it comes on. The royal we, God, in this Trinity. So obey and we give you.
This black nationalist is trying to make white people feel guilty. He's trying to make a black Christian feel guilty.
Wait, and let's just take it by pieces. Like, do you believe I'm a black nationalist?
Well, I mean, you're Black, you're in a nation.
I am black.
Put them together. Black
When you say I'm
nationalist.
in a nation, you mean like America?
Well, I mean, you do. You are an American citizen, right? So, I mean,
Yes.
it would make sense to be a Black nationalist, just like I'm a white nationalist. I'm not a globalist. I'm white nationalist, Black nationalist.
So I don't think that's what black nationalist means. Black nationalist means that you are someone who prioritizes race as your nation. So do you believe I'm a black nationalist? And I think you knew that. I think you just like kind of just made
Well,
up
I
that.
believe if you had well, I mean, I assume you do have companies. I do assume, I mean, maybe you can't say it because of, civil rights thing, but I do assume you probably would prefer to work around Black people over white people because those are your people.
You said you assume, and that's
I
definitely an
assume, I don't
assumption.
know. I mean,
I don't look at black people and say you're my people because you're black, because some of them are degenerates, unfortunately, like Lil
well,
Nas
of course,
X, for
yeah, I
example.
mean,
I
but if
wouldn't want to work with
everything's
this
equal, you
person.
would probably prioritize a Black person over a white person.
If everything's equal, meaning like people are clones of one another and everything's the same except their skin color.
I mean, yeah, if everything's equal. I mean, obviously the environment changes. Like, there's no perfect, I mean, scenario. I mean, maybe if you were doing work in a predominantly white area, you might hire a white person so that white person get along better with the white people. Or if you're in an area, there's multiple factors of it, but I assume you would likely prefer a Black person over a white person if all is equal and none would either
And
hurt
why
the
do you
other one.
assume that?
Well, I mean, you're Black, right? I mean, I'm white. I mean,
I'm definitely
if I'm
black.
white,
You said that 3 times. It was true every single time. I ain't gonna lie to
well,
you.
yeah,
It's
I
true
mean,
every
it's just
time.
like for me,
Hmm.
like if I had a company one
Yes.
day, I don't know, maybe I'll be a winner one day, but not right
Okay.
now. But
Hmm.
if I had a company, would I never hire a Black person? No, of course I'd hire Black people if they're the best at the job, if they're the best that's able to do that particular task. But I'm saying if everything is equal, they're exact clones, and none's going to change the other one, I would
Yes.
hire the white person if exactly equal.
And why would you hire the white person if they're exactly equal?
Well, just because I'm white. I mean, that's like if everything's equal, none's better than the other as far as I can see. That would just be the kicker to put it over the top.
And why is that a plus for you? Like what is it that the whiteness of the other guy will add? How will that add value to
Well,
your
it's
experience?
just a tribal thing. It's not like if
What's your
I'm
tribe
hiring an
called?
engineer
Like
and
what's
I
your
feel
tribe
the
called?
Black engineer is better, I'm going to hire the Black engineer, right? I mean, there's so many factors, but what I'm saying is if
Yeah.
everything's equal, they're a pure clone. I'd
Well, I think
go to
when
the white
everything's
person
equal, that's
just to
when
decide it.
it doesn't matter to me because everything's equal in a literal sense. But what I'm trying to get at with you to understand is you said you're tribal, and I was like, well, what's your tribe?
Well, I mean, I'm white. I feel people that are white European, we kind of have the same social framing. We kind of get told the same things about white privilege. We kind of get the same, kind of be quiet, white man, we're talking. So it's like we kind of have that same commonality, kind of same common social
Like you guys are
experience.
all oppressed in the same way. Is that what you're saying?
Not, I mean, I wouldn't say oppressed, but I'd say we kind of have the same experience. Talk more freely. You don't have to be as, reserved.
The reason that I asked that is because you said tribal, and I've been among tribes. Perhaps you have as well. And generally with tribes, it's actually not based necessarily on your racial group. Typically, they share a racial group, but it's usually based on, being a part of a linguistic group, sharing a specific history, folkways, culture, mores, style of dress, things like this would like make you an actual tribe. Whereas what you're describing is not a tribe. And I would even further suggest that you said you were Irish, and I was actually just in Ireland maybe 3-4 weeks ago. And I know the Irish would be very much so out of line with what you're saying. So
Yeah, to an extent.
Oh, for sure. No, for sure. They'd be very far, especially with your notes about, invading other countries. The Irish are very against that. Because of their history.
Not all Irish.
I don't.
got some
The overwhelming
British in there,
majority. The overwhelming majority. Because of their history, right? You familiar with what has happened to the Irish?
Well, yeah, the England basically oppressed them. They still have, I think, 6 provinces in Northern Ireland. Still, it's still not a unified country.
Right. And you know about the IRA?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Well, there's multiple. There's the army, the Irish Republican. Well, there's the one that was labeled a terror group, and then there's the army that's called that.
Okay. Yeah. Very good. So, for sure, they'd be really against stronger countries impositioning weaker
I support
countries.
them in their struggle. I'm an American now, so obviously I'm American. I'm America first.
Yeah. Anyways, but your point earlier, this tribal thing, I think it's a little strange because it's like you're suggesting that there's a bond between whites that actually doesn't exist, unfortunately, is what I'm suggesting. I'm suggesting that if we got like whites from like 5 European countries and then like 5 Americans, most of the Europeans would be like, Americans. Even though you're white, they kind of like, Americans. And if we put a German and a Frenchman together, like, the German, like, you're French. Or even a Brit and a French, you're French. So the tribalism that you're suggesting exists, like, does not actually exist between whites.
I mean, that's not my personal experience with it. I do feel there is more of a similarity with people that are white. Now, does that mean that, you can't share those same bonds with people that are black or a different race? No, of course. As individuals, you have to get to know the individual person. But I think group dynamics, white people to their own detriment, have kind of ignored that over the last 50 years when other groups have not. And because of that, they have lost their top of the stage. They've lost their tip of the stage.
Is it that white people have ignored racial consciousness, or is it that there's diversity within the white collective? And
well, there certainly is diversity. I mean, there's diversity in every collective.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no unified white. What does it mean for white existence? But there are overall things that align mostly, for the most part. It's like political parties. You don't agree with every single thing, but for the most part, people align more with one side or the other.
Okay. And you said I'm a black nationalist. So to you, black nationalist means what again?
You're black, right?
Yeah, I'm still, yeah.
You're a nationalist, right? You're not a globalist.
A nationalist. I'm a
Like,
patriot.
do you want to put America first?
I want to put the American people first.
So you're a black nationalist.
That's not what that means.
That's my definition of it. People might have different ones, but that's how I see it.
Okay. So if that's your actual definition, then how did you gather that from the video? It sounds like you're making up things right now. I'm going to replay the video real quick because based on the video, it doesn't sound like you're suggesting that I'm a black person who believes in America first. It suggests that you're saying that I'm a black person who believes in black first. And I'm going to go ahead and replay this.
Well, yes.
Us, the royal we, God, and this Trinity. So obey and we give you eternal.
This black nationalist is trying to make white people feel guilty.
Right. So that language you use, saying this black nationalist is trying to make white people feel guilty, that would suggest that wouldn't make sense if you're saying a black nationalist is a black person who's America first. Well, why would a black person who's America first try to make white people feel guilty?
Well, there's different there's different realms of it. I think when white people recently have been told about slavery, about all these things, they start to feel guilty. They start this, oh, well, yeah, we did some really bad things, and now we have to, repent. And it's like, I'm done. I'm done with the white guilt. I'm done with the, we're going to take a knee for George Floyd. Like, the 2020 whites is over. We have to start standing up for ourselves. And I think as groups, when people stand up for themselves, I think we can actually have a productive dialogue. We can't have a productive dialogue if people are just not speaking what they truly believe.
But I was talking to a black guy, though. I wasn't like talking to a white guy.
Yeah, I mean, I made the video based on what I took from it. I mean, it's a video. It's out there.
Okay.
I bring many controversial takes on many videos. But yeah, I mean, it's what I made. Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
He's trying to make a black Christian feel guilty. He's trying to say,
Do you think that black people should be Christians?
I mean, I think people should be Christian. Now, I mean, I think when it comes to...
No, black people, not people. Do you think black people should be Christians?
I think all people should, black people included, yeah.
Do you think black people can go to heaven?
Huh?
Can black people go to heaven?
Of course. Yeah, of course.
So you're a Christian. Do you believe all people are like the same, like God's children, like completely equal?
Well, this is where I do believe we're all God's children. But I think with the world, I mean, it depends how deep down the rabbit hole you want to go. But I personally believe in the Garden of Eden. I believe that all of us used to kind of all look the same. And I think as we all spread out different areas of the world, would go to Africa, white people would go to Europe, our skin tone, our racial makeup changed based on the environment over thousands of years. So I do believe at the fundamental sense, we all are the same human. But I do think because of how the world is as of this point right now, we are divided along those racial lines. But I would like to see a world where that's not the case. But I think white people in general have kind of just ignored that is the case right now. And if an honest conversation can be had in time, I think there can be that unity, because I do believe we all are the same human fundamentally from the Garden of Eden. I just think as of right now, there is racial differences, and people have to be aware of that.
Where was the Garden of Eden?
Between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers.
Okay, so would you say that's in the Middle East?
Middle East, yeah. Or it's modern day Iraq, yeah.
Okay. And were those earliest people, were those black people or white people?
I think they were like a mix. They were like a middle, like an Arabian mix. They weren't like white. They weren't like black. They were kind of just everyone like Rihanna. I guess that's kind of the closest thing. Like a mix between the two. I don't think everyone was white or black. I think it was like a mix, like an Arabian mix. If that makes sense.
Okay. So is your understanding that the oldest humans on Earth were in the Garden of Eden? That's where humanity started, in the Garden of Eden?
Yeah, that's my belief. Yeah.
Okay. And if that is the case,
from our religion, yes, but I think so personally. This is where I really love talking about this, because this is where the real big stuff comes out.
Sure.
I believe each region had different gods that ruled those regions. They were actual beings, like all these different people, like Egypt, like the Greeks, the Chinese. Those deities that they talked about were actually real beings. They were.
When you say real
angels
beings, you're saying
heaven.
Real deities or just real humans?
Angelic beings.
So above humans,
Yes,
like extra.
yes.
Okay. All
Yes, and they ruled over certain regions after the fall.
Okay. And so if the oldest human beings, according to your understanding of the Bible, were in the Garden of Eden, which you said was in the Middle East, why are the oldest human remains found in Africa?
Well, it's a very interesting point. When we talk about the oldest human remains, right, how are those remains dated? How do we know those things are accurate? Because I think I would argue with world history, a lot of the things that we're told aren't exactly true. I think a lot of history is fudged. I don't believe a lot of the stories we're told are exactly how they were. So when you say the oldest were found in Africa, right, I would ask, what type of dating was used and how that is accurate. And that could have been possible, but I do believe in the Garden of Eden, there was a literal garden. That's where humans were. And when you read in the Bible how when Cain killed Abel, it says Cain fled to other lands and there were other people there. So it does show there were other people already here outside of the Garden of Eden. So that could be true, but I'm not 100% sure how that is true.
So if you say that the archaeologists and the historiography around the oldest human remains has been falsified, the fact that those
well,
were
it could be
mostly
true.
white,
It does say there were other people. So it could be true. I'm not 100% sure.
Okay. Fair enough. So your belief is that humankind started in the Garden of Eden with like a people who today we'd probably regard as a mixed race people, and then humankind spread to different regions of the earth. And you believe that today there are racial differences that make one group superior to the other group?
There are, well, no, not superior. There are different racial groups that were able to outmaneuver and manipulate other groups. But just the humanity wise, I don't believe any group is just inherently superior because fundamentally we all are the same group, if that makes sense.
Sure, I comprehend the English that you're speaking. I'd ask you this, and especially, and this is, I hear this commonly from the Black Christians. They'll say, we're all Christians, so we're all fundamentally the same. And in as much as that's the case, do you think that they're kind of inaccurate? Because if you say you had a daughter and she wanted to marry a guy who's a white Christian and a Black Christian, you actually wouldn't view them equally. You would prefer the white Christian, correct?
I think for me personally, again, if all's equal, yes. But I do believe fundamentally we all are the same human species, the same humankind. Just the environments made us look different as time went on.
So if someone is also a Black Christian, then fundamentally you actually don't see them as the same because you'd still pick the white Christian because they're white.
Well, just based off my tribal instinct, if all's equal, right? I mean, I'm not controlling. I care more about the behavior than the race personally. Like me personally, I do, but I don't ignore race. And I think a lot of white people have ignored it. And I think that's where the problem is.
So say you had a white Christian who is a Frenchman. So he's a real Frenchman, generations far back. He speaks French as a primary language. And your daughter has these two options. And so you're from Florida. And so say you grew up in West Palm Beach, Florida. The Black guy grew up in West Palm Beach, Florida. He's a Christian. The white guy from France is a Christian. And they're both, options for your daughter's hand in marriage. I'm assuming you'd go for the white Frenchman who is a Christian.
I mean, well, that's her decision to make, right?
No, I'm saying if it's your decision as the father.
If all's equal?
Well, under what I just described. So the only things that are unequal is the fact that the Black guy is from West Palm Beach and he grew up where you grew up, and the Frenchman grew up in France and French is his primary language. But everything else, yes, is equal.
Well, I mean that's like and that would be for her to decide. I can't decide that.
No, I'm saying if it was for you to decide.
For my daughter, right? I mean, but like I can't make a decision based on that, right?
You're saying that's not enough data for you to make a decision, or?
Well, I'm saying I can't make that decision. You're saying there's a guy who's white, who's French, who speaks French, right?
Yes.
And she loves them both equally, and one's Black from West Palm Beach.
Yes. So they're both Christians. They both have the same merits. They both have the same level of attractiveness and appearance. So like they're basically clones of each other, except one grew up in West Palm Beach, where you grew up, and that's the Black guy. The other one grew up in Paris, France, and French is his primary language. Those are the differences. So, and it's your responsibility as a father to pick between them.
I can't really make that decision if I'm honest, right? I mean, I don't know. I mean, part of me wants to say the white French guy, but like, I'm not against the. I honestly can't make a choice. Like I can say me personally, right? I mean, I'd probably pick the white woman if it was me, but I mean, you can't control who you fall in love with. So I'm not someone who's, hateful for that.
I think you can. People say that, but I feel like you can.
I mean, you do feel things. Like, you can't
Yeah, yeah.
control how you feel about somebody.
Yes, yes. Okay, fair enough. And all right, let's wrap this up. And I thank you for sharing your perspective on that.
That the evil white man brought Christianity to Africa.
Okay, so you said that I said the evil white man brought Christianity to Africa. Okay.
Christianity was in Africa. Mark the Apostle founded the church at Alexandria in 42 AD.
Where was Mark the Apostle from?
Mark the Apostle?
Yes, you referenced a guy named Mark the Apostle, I believe, just now. Where was Mark the Apostle from?
The 12 Apostle Mark, the Apostle Mark.
Okay, where's he from?
Well, they were from modern day Israel. That was their area. He went through Egypt, and then he went into we found the Church of Alexandria. Yeah.
Okay.
The Ethiopian church was founded in 330 AD, way before the white man came and started colonizing Africa.
That's interesting. Is that true? That the Ethiopian church was
I'm
330
pretty certain
AD?
with that. That's the accurate year. I've looked up the information.
Because the Ethiopians actually, many of them are considered Jews, and that would predate the Bible, right?
Is that the Hebrew Israelites? Or they?
No, the Hebrew Israelites is like some American thing. But anyways, we'll carry on. But here's the important thing. The argument that you made was not quite accurate, because what I was telling the African fellow, who was Congolese, mind you, you're referencing people in northern Africa, in Egypt, which none of the actual Egyptians are there anymore. Those are Arabs who have invaded, and also a mixture of Europeans who also conquered there. Also the Assyrians and various Romans, etc. It's a mixed race people, not the original people of the land. Just like the original people of this country are not here in great numbers, nor are the Australians, the Aborigines. So, anyways. You essentially try to make it seem as though I was referencing the Christianity of the Ethiopians, or the Christianity that was at some point in Egypt. Now, mind you, it's no longer there. I mean, Egypt is overwhelmingly Muslim. This is a terrible place, which I would not go back to. But the fact of the matter is, the West Africans I usually am talking to, or in this case, the guy who was Congolese, these people got their religion mostly from colonialism, which would align directly with what I said, also known as the truth. I yield the floor.
Well, West Africa, that was predominantly the white European that gave colonialism. I know the Arabs moved through there in the 600s and 700s. North Africa, and then they went up through Spain, and so the whole world's been all Arabs moving through, forcing people to convert to Islam. Christians moving through, forcing people to convert to Christianity, and then in 1900s, Christian missionaries going to Congo, and some Christian missionaries even get killed. White Christian missionaries get killed in Africa today. So the world hasn't been a pretty place, but and West Africa was predominantly from the white Christian that came in.
Well, pretty much, I'd even charge pretty much everywhere in the African continent except Ethiopia, which was the only African country that was not properly colonized. They did suffer some defeats by the Italians. They also had some victories over the Italians. But in Italian culture,
they won their independence, I think, in 1896, right? That was when they pushed back the it was Italians, right? They pushed them back. They won a battle.
But the challenge is that they've not been whole, right? Like, the people that really share that racial group, they're currently split into Eritrea and Ethiopia. And so often curious things happen following European meddling, abuse of sovereignty. But you'd concede that the point that you made in your reel was actually not accurate. And my point was accurate, which is that the black Africans.
Well, I think we both just misspoke, right? I think I interpreted you saying that Christianity was brought to Africa by the white man, right? But there was Christianity in Africa before. But now that we have clarified the region you are discussing,
no, I was
West
talking
Africa,
to a Congolese man, and I specifically.
Well, I didn't have that information at the time. Right. All I did was see a reel, and I said, "Hey, let me make a video on this." But now that we can clarify West Africa.
Why do they talk about white people colonizing Africa so much? Why do they tell you about slavery and all these things? It's because they want us to feel guilty.
True.
Well, it's also history. Like, people reference history. There's an entire curriculum called history. So,
but what do you want me to do about
it's a
that, though?
fact of
Like,
history.
what is your objective when you tell me that? What do you want me to do as a modern day white man?
Well, that's a very meaningful point. Generally, the whites, yourself being an example, you insert yourself where you don't belong. So I was having a conversation as a black man to another black man who's Congolese. So a foundational black American having a conversation with a Congolese man. That's black and black having a conversation about his specific history, which involves neither white person nor you. But you decided to react to it and engage the conversation. So when you say, what do I expect you to do as a white man or to say? I don't expect you to do or say anything because the conversation doesn't involve you. But you guys always insert yourselves.
Yeah, I inserted myself, my heritage. It's in my DNA. I insert myself in other places. But I think the key point of that argument is, I think I agree with your point that West Africa, Christianity was brought by white Europeans. But the one thing, we can have a conversation about history, but I think the feeling is that there is an agenda to make me feel guilty for being white. There is an agenda out there, right? That's why.
Whose agenda is that, though?
We all know whose agenda.
This guy, right? That was crazy. Gotcha. This
we
guy
all know.
right there. We all know who's. No, I'm dead ass. Like, whose agenda is it to make white people feel guilty about their crimes?
I think elite J interest and aligned interest are.
But those are also white people, you realize. So that's the challenge that I'm having. Is like you're saying that we're white people being attacked by white people, is what you're saying.
Okay, they claim to be white, but then when it comes time to foot the bill for reparations, they say, "Oh no, we're Jays." So they pretend to be
no one's
white
foot the bill for
their
reparations.
benefit.
What do you mean?
Okay, but it's what I'm saying with it, and I think the reason they want that, why they want white people to feel guilty, I think it comes down to a deeper conversation. The reason they want them to feel that way is if white people feel guilty, they're no longer going to be nationalist. They're no longer nationalist. If they no longer follow the values and protect their own interest, then they can be overrun. Then they can be conquered. Then other groups can come in and rule these countries. And it's how you see in the world today. No one complains when a Chinese nationalist wants to keep China, China. Nobody complains. But it's the white people, because of past aggressions that we have done, where people say, oh, well, you can't have a white country.
You do have a white country, and that's why I said it's important that you not be provincial. I was just recently in a couple of these places.
There's a world.
You ever been
J
to Finland?
Congress. There's a World J Congress that's
Real
literally
quick though,
celebrating when
you
whites
said
become a minority.
you suggested that you don't have a
America.
white country. Have you ever been to Finland?
Okay, but I'm saying there's a agenda.
Yeah, no, don't skip over it. I'm
now.
saying you
Okay,
asked
I will
for
answer
white
your
countries.
question.
Like, have you ever been to Finland?
No, I haven't. But there is white countries out there.
So why don't you just go to Finland if you want to be in a white country?
White.
No, I
like
do
America.
business in
I don't
Poland,
have a
for example.
problem with
Poland is a
America.
white country. Like, why don't you just move to Poland?
What I'm saying is, I like America. I want to keep the culture aligned with white interest. Other people, they're going to come in. That's how the world works in a global economy. But what I'm saying is, white people have become soft, and they've said, it's okay to disrespect us in our country. It's okay to disrespect white people and Christianity. And I reject that.
Do you think that Christianity is a white supremacist religion?
And so that's we have to break that question down. When Christianity was founded, it was it was in Arabia, right, in the Middle East, right, in modern day Israel or Palestine, however people want to argue it. It was there. So it was that group of people. And initially it was a religion of people that would preach the gospel and get executed and persecuted. That's what the religion was. And then in time with Rome, it became an institutional power, and then there became the Catholic Church. So initially it was a persecuted religion, but then it became the religion of Europe, and Europe went on to conquer and enslave most of the modern world. So it was the white religion.
Christianity is a white religion.
Well, I mean, I think it should be an everybody religion, but it was used by white people. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's mostly a white religion, right?
Well, I mean, not today. I mean, it's changed a lot. I mean, China. I mean, the underground church in China, they're growing very fast. So, I mean, I think
Do you think
Christianity.
Christianity would be better if it was just white people? Like Christianity would
No,
be.
no, no. I would love everybody to become Christian, right? Regardless of what they are. And as I said before, fundamentally, race exists now in the modern world because there are differences, because we went to different regions and areas and evolved differently over thousands of years. But overall, we are the same thing. Fundamentally, initially, we were all the same thing, but because of genetic diversity in different places, we became different and looked different from each other.
Do you find that maybe your drive for racist ideology kind of stops you from delivering on general beliefs in Christianity around egalitarianism because your racism makes you
Well, I don't
preference
think
white folks?
I don't think it's racism. I think it's protection. China, if let me tell you something, if there was efforts to mass import Somalians and Afghanis and Venezuelans into China, they would become racist because that is their
No,
culture, that
they're
is their
already
land.
racist. They don't have to become racist.
Well,
They're
yeah,
already racist.
but it's like, does racism mean I hate other people? No, it doesn't mean I have hatred for anybody.
So are you
But it
saying that
does
you're
mean,
scared of genetic annihilation? Is that what you're suggesting?
when you say genetic, what do you mean, like the white? Well,
Like,
there is no fundamental fear. It's
you sure?
just we have a
Are you
yeah.
sure it's not fear? Because it
We
sounds like
have
fear to me, to be
we
honest
have
with you.
white countries, and we want to keep them white. That's all.
But America is not a white country. America is a diverse country.
It is
And
a
in fact,
predominantly
the blacks in America have reduced as a percentage.
because of Planned Parenthood. Yeah, the most
Whites. That was whites again, right there. Yeah.
It was
That's
Jays.
whites.
It was Jays. It was Jays. It wasn't.
Which are
Wasn't me.
whites. Which are whites.
They claim to be, but when it comes time to foot the bill,
You keep forgetting that
say,
you define what it is to be white at the beginning, and you said it's people of the European heritage, and that would be who we're talking about, white Jews.
okay, but they don't consider themselves white.
Yeah, but if I don't consider myself black, that doesn't change the reality. If you don't consider yourself a man, that doesn't change the reality.
It doesn't change the reality, but you know what? You can, long as it's not in front of me, you can be a tree if you want to be. It's your prerogative.
Do you think that what if most of your ideas that you're sharing are really expressive of mental illness? Because it's like, on one hand, you're saying that you're under attack as a white group, but then you're saying it's the white group that's attacking you. That's kind of crazy, right?
It's the white Jays holding the weapon. They are firing.
But here's what you have to understand, though.
Us.
Here's what you have to understand.
The bullet going quick is a result.
White is a racial category, and so
Yes.
much of your ideology is shared based on race. And to be Jewish is to choose a religious practice or to identify as a part of a particular ethnicity. It's about the behaviors, but it's not about your biology. Because there are Jews who are redhead whites. There are Jews who are blue-eyed whites. All the ones I know are blue-eyed and blonde. It's a bit ironic. And so the fact of the matter is that you're just angry at a group of whites who are performing better than you, but they're still white. So why not just be thankful that whites are winning?
I'm not angry at anybody. I just want to advocate for my own interest.
But that's what I'm saying. The whites are winning because the Jews are white.
Okay. I don't consider it that way.
You have to, like Benjamin Netanyahu, for example, he's not white?
He's Jewish.
Do you know where his parents are from?
Well, they weren't. Well, Israel wasn't always a state. It was. They were in Europe. But what I'm saying is there is a difference
European
between
heritage.
Okay, there's a difference between Jews and non-white Jews.
Wait.
No, sorry. There's a difference between Jews and whites that are not Jewish.
Yeah, the difference is that they're organized and you're not organized. They're
Yeah,
rich and you guys are not.
100%. And that's
But
what I'm
you're
trying
all
to do. I'm
white.
trying to organize.
So
Trying to organize the white folks to get them all. Come on, people.
the
Let's
whites
wake up.
against whites?
Stop being the gay dude in the commune in Portland. Wake up, white Aryan. Get up. Take your country back. Like, that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to save these white people who are in Portland protesting. Like, what are they yapping about? Like, come on. Like, what?
And who would they be taking their country back from?
Organized elite interest that are Jays and protecting their own interest. I don't blame the bullet. I blame the person firing the pew pew. That's who I blame. The bullet does what the bullet does.
That's really interesting. Hey, I'm actually on a podcast right now. Can I call you back in 4 minutes?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, bye. Okay. Fair enough. Let me acknowledge some of the folks who may have questions for you. We're going to start winding down.
Sure.
All right. May I acknowledge via PayPal? Shout out to Kristen. He writes, "Peace of Saints. Tired of white supremacists saying white guilt. They are conflating guilt with sympathy." That's a meaningful point. Whites should sympathize with a race that was forced here and wasn't given / allowed a fair opportunity, starting with family, second education as massa. Okay. All right. So that's his perspective. Carrying on, may I acknowledge via Venmo? Arthur writes, "Man, knock it off. Tell little homie we're recruiting Sassin Caucasian." Like in a real way, man, in a real way. Okay. We are caught up there. You have any other closing things that you're like, you know what? People need to know this about the whites, about the blacks, about whomever. You want to say any other racist things before you get out of here?
People can call whatever I said, whatever they want to call it. They can feel however they want to feel. But I would just say one thing that's very important, and this is for everybody. This isn't for exclusively white people, black people, anybody. I would say constantly question narratives and agendas that have been told by institutions that have lied and betrayed you. Always look for the truth, no matter how uncomfortable it is. Seek and you will find. Never be unapologetic for searching, and always question those who do not have your best interest at heart. That's all.
Is it possible to be a racist and a Christian?
But I think race is an objective term. I don't hate the skin color.
No, I'm saying, is it possible to be a racist and a Christian?
Do I think you can be?
Yes.
Racial hatred, I think you need to work on that. You need to stop the racial hatred. But being race aware, yeah, absolutely. You should be race aware.
Okay. Can you be a racist and go to heaven?
Racial hatred? Well, it comes down to, in the Christian religion, giving your life to Christ. End of the day, like I'll be honest with this. None of us chose where we were born. None of us chose the brain wiring we had, the time in history we were born into. I could have been born in 1698 on a slave plantation in Virginia as a black man or a black woman. So many things none of us even chose. So I do have that general understanding with people. Before we're born, so much is already chosen for us. But I would say people should not have hatred for people, but they should be aware of group dynamics.
Okay. Very good. We'll just make sure we didn't miss anything critical from this clip, and we're going to get out of here. Appreciate you having been here. It's been entertaining.
They want white people to feel guilty. They want to say, we need more diversity. We need more inclusion. It's inclusion so they can get their foot in the door.
You don't want black people to get their foot in the door?
Well, I think when we talk about inclusion, there's people that have a desire to get in and take the power, to get in and hold their group to the top, right? And I think group dynamics matter. And I've never been against people in America who are American having opportunities. But what I'm saying is, for white people, for far too long, we've fallen for this guilt trap that we need to just be so tolerant that we let people in who don't speak our language, who don't share our culture,
So, but you
who
were
aren't going to put
responding
our
to a
interests
Black
first.
American. You're responding to a Black American, and in all likelihood, my family has been here way longer than your family since you're Irish, because you guys came in through Ellis Island. We were here before that. So you're responding to a Black American. So are you saying that Black people, Black Americans like myself, we want you to feel guilty so that we can take opportunities from you?
I think there are some that do, for sure. Yeah.
Black Americans want to take opportunities from you.
I think there are some people who want white people to just have this eternal apology thing where they just want to keep apologizing for slavery, for all these things that they didn't particularly do. So do I think opportunities are being taken from white people? I don't think it's from Black Americans taking it. I think it's been mass migration and the H-1B program.
It's diversity so they can grow. Then when they take power, there's no more diversity. There's no more inclusion. So don't fall for the white guilt shit.
Obey. And
Yeah,
So,
I agree.
So you're saying if Black people take over, then Black people are going to abuse you?
It's not Black people in general. It's groups of people from countries who hate white people, who hate Christianity, who we are letting into the country, especially under the Biden administration, tens of millions that came through. So I think people should, if they live
Biden
here.
white?
Yeah.
Okay. So
It's the white liberal. I've said that again. White liberal, they're the ones. The evil white
So should Black
liberal.
people and colored people ever come up in your conversation? Shouldn't it always just be a conversation about your own people who are liberal?
What I'm saying is, I'm talking about the bullets being fired. I'm not talking about the weapon in particular. Yes, it is organized interest who were white, well, who are identify as white, who have, by different policies, they have sold the country out. They've offshored jobs. They've advocated for no taxes. The country loses its tax revenue because working class people pay taxes. The corporate elites advocate for no taxes for themselves. So the country loses tax revenue. Then they import the third world in.
That's a fundamental
Then the country gets
American
worse for
thing,
everybody.
though. Like, you've heard of the Gilded Age in the United States. In fact, the taxing is a bit of a newer thing, right? This came in around
For sure.
the World War,
1913,
right?
I believe. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So it's not America is about free enterprise. It's about pulling yourself up by the bootstraps. It's about a small state. So you keep talking about taxes and like all of these welfare benefits. That actually sounds quite liberal, to be honest with you. So why is that an issue if you are a true American, a true capitalist, and you actually have accountability? What does taxes matter? I made it with the same taxes that you had.
Right. And at this modern, every single time in history, there's a game. It's just a game. Don't take it too personal. We're all just playing. I'm just playing the game. You're playing the game. All of us are just playing the game. Back in the 1800s, it was very brutal. There were people that had hundreds of slaves on thousands of acres that ruled by brutality, by force, right? That was the game at the time, and they were the best at the game at the time. But in this modern day, it comes down to what rules of the game do we want? And how can myself as a white person, right? Because I have to live in the rules of the game. We don't live in a world where there's everybody truly just says we're all human, we all live together as one. We don't live in that world. So I can't be a dodo bird and ignore my own interest while other groups aren't doing the same. So I have to be aware.
Why are your interests the interest of a white person instead of the interest of a guy named James?
Well, interest is, well, obviously I am James first, right? I mean, I put myself first, right? Then my family, then my friends, then my community, then the broader country in general. But the truth is, I play the game. I want myself to win, right? I want to make white people not feel guilty. And I want everyone to work one day, everybody can come together and we can all work together. But the world isn't at that place right now. And I'd be delusional if I didn't understand that.
Okay. I appreciate you having shared your perspective. Until next time, peace to the saints.
Well, Marquett, I appreciate you taking the time. Have a great day, man.
Pleasure.